Okay, share the screen. Can you tell me when I'm sharing the screen, I can't see your faces. So how do I get that? Naman, any idea?
Sir, so you're not able to see our faces?
When once I start sharing whatever document,
Yes, sir.
I can't see your faces. So I
So
can see
you
the
see
document right now.
this
हाँ
movable tab somewhere on the right of your screen, जिसमें आपका
हाँ
नाम लिख के आ रहा होगा, क्राफ्ट लिख के आ रहा होगा शायद.
नहीं, अभी तो कुछ भी नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है। ऊपर है
सर
your
ऊपर
screen
व्यू ऑप्शंस पे क्लिक करिए एक बार.
view, ऊपर कोई व्यू ऑप्शन है ही नहीं। So whenever I'm opening this document, you can see the document, ना?
Yes sir, I'm able to see it. I think the application version you are using is, I think वो अपडेट नहीं हुआ है इसलिए शायद थोड़ा.
Update नहीं हुआ।
हाँ सर शायद.
Show video panel. Now I can see, right.
Okay sir. So should I start?
Yeah, start. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So I have actually tried to put lot of technicalities of the whole scenario. What
So
was
let's do one
yeah.
thing since we don't have much
Yes, sir.
time. Yeah. What I have done, I've already read your this thing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So how is wondering what to do? But what
Yes,
I
sir.
couldn't follow is the library wala tum jaro paro. Where I was brainstorming and thinking over some
Yes, sir.
ideas. Library wale
Yes,
kaka
sir.
got there to me and asked क्या है ये? I couldn't make out.
सर नहीं
जब
सर,
से
वो एक्चुअली वर्ड में कुछ
I
वो
know,
हो
I know,
गया
I
है
know. Just read it.
सर.
You just
सो
break it
सो
down. Break
यस
it
सर,
down.
यस सर. Yes, so while I was brainstorming and thinking over some ideas, library वाले काका got there to me and asked, कब से बैठे हुए बेटा, कुछ होश है? सुबह से शाम हो गया, कुछ खाए भी नहीं हो. समझ सकता हूँ बहुत काम है, पर खाना पीना मत छोड़ो ऐसे. तो ये पूरा सेम, मतलब ये वर्ड सब चिपक गए, पता नहीं कैसे
ठीक
ये
है,
एक.
anyway, हाँ, continue, हाँ, हाँ.
सो एंड आई रिप्लाइड, हाँ काका सही कह रहे हैं आप, कुछ खा लेता हूँ जाकर. टू विच काका रिप्लाइड कि तुमसे बिना पूछे कुछ समोसे ले आया था, शाम की कैंटीन में गरम गरम सिक रहे थे. एंड आई सेड काका आपके परेशान हुए, मैं जाकर ले लेता. टू विच एक्चुअली दिस इज टू विच काका स्माइल्ड एंड आई सेड थैंक यू काका, एंड काका लेफ्ट. नाउ आई मे बी अ मैनेजमेंट स्टूडेंट, बट आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन अ ह्यूज फैन ऑफ गुड फूड. और ये सच बात भी है, मतलब असली में भी. एंड आई हैव ऑलवेज अप्रिशिएटेड डिफरेंट रेसिपीज, डिफरेंट क्यूजीन्स, डिफरेंट शेफ्स. ह्यूज फैन ऑफ संजीव कपूर. And most importantly, desi Indian food. And this is when it struck me that I'm going to start a business. If I'm going to start a business, why can't it be a samosa business? Now, it might sound like a small or petty thing, but I really believed in the samosa idea and my caliber of pulling a business out of it. In a day or two, I became completely sure of the idea and started work on the outlines, sources of funding, minimum investment, execution plan, and mode of operation. It is going to be a food truck or an outlet, or it's like small stalls on the side of the street, or just an application based home delivery. So after an insightful discussion with a team of experts, mostly college colleagues and friends, I came to the conclusion of home delivery. Now if I were to serve samosas in a home delivery mode, a, I wanted a cloud kitchen. B, samosa had to be piping hot. No one likes to eat cold samosas. And these became two of the primary business problems. Not all the problems, but primary business problems, like a research question kind of thing. So another problem was that I was still not able to think anything about the marketing of the product. To solve this, I consulted one of my marketing friends, Avinash. We sat for a few hours to figure this out. After a long discussion, we finally got something and decided upon marketing the product with the help of my MBA degree, naming the business MBA Samosa Wala. This is actually inspired by that MBA Chai Wala thing, idea. And about the samosa to be served hot problem, I finally decided to come up with the tagline, hot samosa in 15 minutes at your doorstep. And then, my friend, there was no stopping. In a matter of 2 weeks, I got the loan approved for the whole venture, rented a workshop kind of place for cloud kitchen, and got the advertisements and flexes ready for the advertisement purposes. And even after doing all this, two major problems persisted. And these were, first, a team of at least 2 to 3 people for the start to cook the samosas. And second, finding the delivery persons for home delivery. This took some time. After a considerable amount of struggle, I finally found some skilled small time samosa vendors from around the samosa chaat wali gali. and I really had to convince them of their financial well-being and growth in this venture if it worked. And somehow they agreed. Now, the only inherent problem was the home delivery. And to solve this problem, I fortunately got a contact from one of my colleagues of a new startup dealing in mobile app based delivery, just delivery of general things like Dunzo and these new startups, what they are doing. So instantly a meeting was set up in which I told the requirement of my business to one of the executives of the startup. First, they argued the delivery timing of 15 minutes and stated that it is very little time for any product to be delivered. But then after a little bit of persuasion and my explanation from my side, they reluctantly agreed. And finally, the advertising and launching up initiated. And this is how MBA Samosewala, hot samosa in 15 minutes at your doorstep, started. In the early days, MBA Samosewala used the delivery company's application for taking orders. But after a few years, a dedicated team of software developers was appointed and a mobile application, MBA Samosewala, was introduced. Starting in a small workshop, first operating in just one city, the business started booming and we grew from one outlet to 80 outlets operating in 15 states of India, including metros and both tier 1 and tier 2 cities. From brainstorming business ideas in the library to becoming a national chain, it has been quite a journey. And I'm thankful to my team, co-workers, employees, dedicated management, and to all the people who contributed to believing in me and making my business dream come true.
Okay, ये 500 वर्ड्स के अंदर है या ज्यादा हो गया?
सर मतलब थोड़ा सा मतलब अराउंड 600 550
हाँ,
कुछ थोड़ा सा बढ़ गया था। फिर
ज्यादा
मैंने
नहीं
जब
होनी
देखा तो
चाहिए।
मैंने
हाँ,
मतलब आइडियाज तो बहुत सारे थे सर, पर
हाँ,
मुझे
नहीं
फिर
नहीं
उसको बीच में
नहीं,
रोकना
आइडिया
पड़ा।
इस देखो क्या है, 500 वर्ड्स का लिमिट इसीलिए दिया जा रहा है, वट एवर इट कुड बी 600 वर्ड्स का लिमिट ऑल्सो। द आइडिया
जी
इज
सर।
टू इन वर्क ऑफ आर्ट, एनी वर्क ऑफ आर्ट, I always tell my students, and this is something we should be taught to you also, any work of art involves a rigorous process of selection and elimination. क्या दिखाने का है, क्या नहीं दिखाने का, ठीक है, हम लोग ज्यादातर नहीं दिखाते, ठीक है, जो दिखाते हैं सिलेक्ट, वी मेक चॉइसेस, वी सिलेक्ट, ठीक है, सो एंड वी सिलेक्ट वेरी फ्यू, आउट ऑफ दोस फ्यू सिलेक्शंस द होल आइडिया मस्ट इमर्ज, ठीक है ना। सो इन सिनेमा वी कॉल इट लेस इज मोर, ये याद रखना, दिमाग में बैठा लो, लेस इज मोर इन सिनेमा, मतलब कम बात में ज्यादा बात बोलने का है, ठीक है।
जी सर।
उसके अंदर डिटेलिंग भी करने का, लेकिन इतना ज्यादा डिटेलिंग भी मत करो कि ऑडियंस बोर हो जाए, ठीक है ना। यू आर नॉट मेकिंग अ
यस सर।
टेक्निकल फिल्म, okay, until unless you are required to make a technical film, then you're of course required to focus on the techniques of
यस
whatever
सर।
product, okay, but if
यस
it's
सर।
to engage a wide variety of the thing audience, so it has to be no matter how complex is your subject, it has to be simplified. Anyway, I like your this thing. What I like very much is the struggle and the doubts. You know, any story, in order to be interesting, needs to have that struggle of the protagonist, struggle and self doubts. हो पाएगा क्या, कैसे मार्केटिंग करेंगे, 15 मिनट में कैसा जाएगा, I had to convince people.
यस
They
सर।
were not, ad guys were not convinced. ऐसा होता थोड़ी, but I had to convince them. Okay,
यस
of
सर।
course you did not have the time and the word limit did not permit you to how he convinced them. वो अलग
यस
बात है,
सर।
लेकिन at least he was challenged by certain quarters and how he kind of overcame those. So that is very important. Always show some of the other students yesterday, but they did not show the struggle. So the struggle is very. It is the struggle of the protagonist that engages the audience. The struggle of the protagonist becomes the struggle of the audience. So the audience
यस
starts
सर।
relating to the protagonist. ये दिमाग में रख, ठीक है ना।
Yes, sir. I've tried to
हाँ,
come out with a lot of the practicality, actual practicality of the issue when goes to one thinks of a startup, the
हाँ, वो
actual
सही है, it
practicality
comes
of the
out well,
thing.
हाँ, it comes out well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just one thing, कि तुमने पैराग्राफिंग नहीं किया, okay, पैराग्राफिंग करना जरूरी है, तुम्हें
Yes, sir.
बड़ा लंबा पैराग्राफ वो बोरिंग हो जाता है विजुअली, ठीक है ना,
Yes, sir.
और वो थोड़ा सा रुकावट काइंड ऑफ आ जाता है, अरे यार इतना लंबा कोई ब्रेक्स नहीं है, सो ये दिमाग में रखना, a lot of you are not
Yes,
doing
sir.
this, ठीक है। अच्छा चलो, let's move on to the dialogue exercise now, okay, yeah,
Yes, sir. So this is actually this part whole thing is actually from my life as well. मैं खुद भी एक इंजीनियर हूँ और ये
अच्छा
थोड़े दिनों पहले डिस्कशन हुआ है, तो
ओके,
ये सच
चलो
में भी है।
गुड,
जी सर। सर this whole thing is very blurry. I am not able to see anything. बहुत
अच्छा
blurred आ रहा है। जी सर।
I'll read it. After my self-awakening, introspection, and deep infatuation in cinema, I came to the
ये सर
conclusion
ना,
that I
ये सर अब आ गया सर, अब आ गया।
आगे चलो, हाँ पढ़ो,
Yes.
हाँ।
After my self-awakening, introspection, and deep infatuation with cinema, I came to the conclusion that I want to go for a film direction course after completing my current degree, that is BTech. Tomorrow I will be disclosing this to my father. The next day, father, I heard you have lost your interest in your field. Is it right? He heard it from the mother. Me, yes, Papa, it is right. I've completely lost interest in what I was doing. Father, in a slightly serious tone, may I ask why? And me, I was actually going to tell you myself. So, do you remember 4 years ago when I told you that I saw a film called Pyasa and you appreciated me for watching good films? Father, yes, I do, but why do you ask? Son, the thing is that when I left the coaching institute midway through 4 years ago, somewhere I started losing interest in this whole thought of pursuing engineering. And I wanted to tell you about this, but I lacked the courage. Although mummy had some idea about this whole thing, she discouraged me from talking to you regarding this. You want to say something, Papa? No, go on. I'm listening. So this was also the time when I started watching a lot of movies like Pyasa, Satyakam, Ankush. Actually, there's a whole list. This Ardhe Satya, Nishant, and whole Trishagini, a lot of films. But dal nahi paya usme, and etc. etc. And somewhere I rediscovered myself with cinema. Somewhere I found myself in cinema. And the films, they eventually became my friends, and along the way, I became crazy for them. But because of the fear and my dwindling surety about this newly found passion, I didn't speak for myself and joined the engineering course. And I really tried to detach myself from the films, but I just couldn't. And in the process, became even more attached to them. But finally, the internal conflict was over. And that's when I decided, around the last year of college, that I want to go for a direction course after completing the BTech degree. Father, in anger, are you out of your mind? You're talking rubbish. This does not make any sense. I can understand if you have a certain hobby that you are passionate about, but this has taken a completely different route, and I don't approve of it. You don't approve? Meaning? You heard me. You heard me the first time. This is not about you, Papa. This is about my life, my passion, my professional career. How can you? You should have decided that 4 years ago. Now nothing can be done. You join the job next week. That's it. No further arguments regarding this. This is about my life, Papa. You're not listening to me. I will not be able to do anything if I don't do this. I understand your concern. You want to see me settled and equipped with a high earning job. In a nutshell, you want stability for me. And I respect your concern. But what if my definition of stability is something else? What if my understanding of settlement is different? Yes, I made some mistakes. I admit it. And I take complete responsibility for it. But what now? Should I bear this load forever? I'm sorry, but I will not be able to, no matter what. Sir, actually, ये पूरा conversation काफी बड़ा, काफी
नहीं
बढ़ता
देखो,
चला
again
गया।
I'll repeat myself again. The
जी
idea is to condense,
जी सर।
मतलब idea is to again less is more. कम बात में ज्यादा convey में
राइट
क्या,
सर।
that is the challenge, that is the artistic
जी सर।
challenge. Okay, real life
यस
देखो,
सर।
cinema or literature or any work of art is not, we say it's a mirror of life. Of course it reflects life, okay, but it is not a copy of life. हम लोग पहले बोलते हैं, it's a copy of life. Copy of life है तो art का जरूरत क्या है? You know,
राइट सर।
art is not a copy of life. Okay,
यस
art
सर।
borrows from life. It selects. It does selection. Okay, and it leaves out a lot of things. Okay, और जो
यस
भी
सर।
तुम select कर रहे हो उसको एक structure देने का है. You have to string them together in a certain manner. That is called the structure. ठीक है? तो तुमने
राइट
अभी
सर।
बोला ना, इससे भी बहुत ज्यादा बहस हुआ था वगैरह वगैरह. नहीं,
यस
सब
सर।
नहीं दिखाने का है. कम बात में ज्यादा
हाँ,
बात बोलो. Less is
नहीं
more.
नहीं,
हाँ
बहस नहीं सर, मैंने लिखा
हाँ
बहुत आगे का भी कन्वर्सेशन में कंटिन्यू करते हुए लिखता
हाँ
चला गया,
हाँ
बट
हाँ,
मैंने
नहीं
यहाँ
नहीं
पे
नहीं,
यहीं
वही
पे
तो,
एंड
यू हैव
कर
टू
दिया।
कंट्रोल योरसेल्फ.
जी
एंड
सर।
तुम्हारा बिगेस्ट चैलेंज है कि जब अगर एग्जाम में बैठोगे तुम्हें तो
जी
उतना
सर।
ज्यादा टाइम मिलेगा भी नहीं, है ना?
नहीं
तुम्हें,
सर।
यू हैव टू आंसर अदर क्वेश्चंस आल्सो. ओके, सो यू हैव टू
यस सर।
डिसिप्लिन योरसेल्फ. यू हैव टू बी वेरी अलर्ट कि भैया, I can dedicate maximum 10 minutes to this question or 15 minutes. Okay, so I
राइट
can't
सर।
spare more than the other questions will get neglected. So accordingly,
राइट
and
सर।
don't be carried away with your emotions, even if it is from your life experience.
यस
Because
सर।
this is examination. You have to be very clinical. You have to be very objective. Okay,
यस
and
सर।
फटाफट तुम्हें डिसीजन लेके कम बात में कितना मैं कन्वे कर सकता हूँ, that comes with practice. It's not expected you guys who are trying to enter a film school, you will already have that talent. It's not possible. ठीक है ना? मतलब
सर।
that is what one learns in a school, especially in a film school. Over the years, it takes many years to arrive at that understanding of यू नो हमें हमें मुद्दा क्या है, मुद्दे में ही बात बोलने का है, हम लोग इधर उधर भटक जाते हैं, ठीक है ना, तो वो प्रैक्टिस से आता है। तो उसलिए मैं अभी अभी एटलीस्ट तुम्हें बोल दे रहा हूँ कि सबको, ये सबको मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि ट्राई टू काइंड ऑफ बी लिटिल डिसिप्लिन, सिलेक्टिव, कंडेंस करो, कॉम्प्रेस करो, हाँ, तुम्हारा जो भी सोच है, ओके, कम बात में ज्यादा बात बोलो, ओके, नंबर वन। नंबर टू, व्हाट आई डिड नॉट लाइक अबाउट द, आई अंडरस्टैंड द आर्गुमेंट एंड द कन्विक्शन ऑफ द कैरेक्टर, ठीक है, but what I did not like is the long paragraphs. Never have long paragraph. वो lecture mode में चला जाता है। कभी कभी एक लॉन्ग पैराग्राफ आ सकता है, लेकिन इट शुड बी फॉलोड बाय टक 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 टक, छोटे छोटे लाइंस, छोटे छोटे क्रिस्प लाइन। जैसे
जी सर।
तुमने लिखा है कि यू रिमेम्बर, हाँ, सो दिस वाज द टाइम व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड वाचिंग अ लॉट ऑफ मूवीज लाइक प्यासा, सत्यकाम अंकुश, एंड समवेयर आई डिस्कवर्ड रीडिस्कवर्ड माई सेल्फ। ये लंबा पैराग्राफ लिखा, हाँ, तो ये इतना इंफॉर्मेशन भी नहीं चाहिए, ओके, एंड वट एवर इज सेइंग, लेट द फादर इंटरवीन और इंटरफेयर, सो इट हैज टू बी लाइक टक 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 टक, ऐसा करके राइज होना चाहिए लंबे। तो इसका जवाब भी फादर है, उतना लंबा पैराग्राफ नहीं दिया, ओके, सो छोटा सा पैराग्राफ ठीक है। सो कीप दिस इन माइंड, एनी डायलॉग थिंग हैज टू बी छोटे छोटे लाइंस, क्रिस्प लाइंस, नंबर वन।
ओके
नंबर
सर।
टू, डोंट यूज flowery languages, because we don't use flowery languages when we speak in real life. Okay, so
यस
you
सर।
become the character, act out, close your eyes, act out the dialogues. Okay, then it becomes natural. Okay, otherwise the tendency of most of the students, the tendency is to write heavy duty dialogues, literary dialogues. Dialogue बाजी में मत चले जाओ, वो पुराने फिल्मों में होता था, राजकुमार एक बार डायलॉग बोलना शुरू करेगा तो रुकता ही नहीं था, ठीक है ना, वो जमाना गया, ठीक है, अभी रियलिस्टिक फिल्म का जमाना आ गया, इवन कमर्शियल सिनेमाज आर रियलिस्टिक, ओके, दे आर रूटेड,
यस सर।
कैरेक्टर्स आर रियल, ओके, दे स्पीक लाइक रियल पीपल, ये दिमाग में रखो, ठीक है, चलो ठीक है,
यस सर।
चलो, अटेम्प्ट इज गुड, okay,
यस
and
थैंक यू
it
सर।
comes with practice. Be very selective, very alert, okay, when you're answering your questions, because you don't have much time, okay,
यस सर।
and the examiner understands that you don't have much time, you're doing a lot of things in the answer papers for the first time in your life, okay, so
यस सर।
your this thing, drawbacks are taken into consideration, लेकिन drawbacks
यस
के
सर।
अंदर भी हम लोग जो देखो, एग्जामिनर्स जो देखने की कोशिश करते हैं, ये बंदे में क्या है, मतलब पोटेंशियल है कि नहीं, दे आर नॉट लुकिंग फॉर टैलेंट, दे आर लुकिंग फॉर पोटेंशियल ऑफ टैलेंट, पोटेंशियल,
राइट सर।
there's a difference. If you are
राइट सर।
already talented, why will you join a film school, ना?
यस सर।
अरे पोटेंशियल है कि नहीं, दैट इज व्हाट इज ट्राइड टू बी फाउंड आउट, ठीक है ना,
यस सर।
ओके, चलो, गीत, आ जाओ भैया, गीत, दिस गीत दे,
प्रेजेंट सर, प्रेजेंट सर।
चलो चलो पढ़ो, ये क्या चैट जीपीटी से किया ये सब, एक दिन में इतना सारा फिल्म देख लिया, हाँ, कहाँ गए,
हाँ।
हाँ, नन्या
हाँ,
तंबी आदित्य, कहाँ गए तुम यार, क्या ऊपर गए, ऊपर आ गए क्या, गीत, हाँ, एक एक दिन में इतना सारे फिल्म देख लिया तुमने,
नहीं सर।
हाँ, या पहले देख
नहीं
चुके थे, हाँ,
नहीं देखा है सर।
हाँ, तो ठीक है, चलो, आई रीड इट बिकॉज आई बीन रीडिंग इट, सो लेट मी जस्ट पॉइंट आउट, तुमने फर्स्ट थिंग, देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन व्हिच इज नॉट राइट, even if you have taken the help of chat gpt does not necessarily come up with the right answers always, okay, most of the time it does, of course, okay. 400 goes by Francois Truffaut, okay, 1959, and this is one of the early films, followed by Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, 1960. These are very seminal films. Okay, cinema verite style, Truffaut, influenced by the cinema verite movement, used a handheld camera to create a documentary-like realism. This choice in filmmaking gives the audience an intimate, immediate connection to the protagonist, Arthur Donnelly. So, first of all, there's hardly any handheld camera in the film. Okay, Godard uses handheld camera and Breathless, okay, most of the time. But in Truffaut का treatment जो है, it's much more controlled.
यस
He
सर।
uses tracks and trolling. In fact, the last scene जो है, वो बंदा समुंदर के उधर दौड़ रहा है, and suddenly he turns and looks at the camera, which you have mentioned. Okay, that is not handled, that is track, a famous track. लंबा ट्रैक बैठा दिया गया था बीच के ऊपर, और ट्रैक के थ्रू से वो लिया गया, तो दौड़ रहा है, वो भाग रहा है, स्कूल से जो
तो,
भागता है ना,
तो बिना बिना हैंडल ट्रैक कैसे होगा तब?
नहीं, ट्रैक, यू ले द ट्रैक, ट्रैक के ऊपर एक ट्रॉली रहता है, ठीक है,
अच्छा अच्छा।
ट्रॉली के ऊपर एक ट्राइपॉड रहता है, ठीक है, ट्राइपॉड के ऊपर कैमरा रहता है, हाँ, और ट्रॉली के ऊपर कैमरामैन बैठता है, देयर इज अ स्मॉल टूल, ओके, He sits on the tool, which is on the trolley, okay, and he operates the camera. He holds the camera. But pan karna hai, pan karega, tilt up, tilt down, okay, and somebody is pushing the trolley. Okay, and the track has to be laid. The track is laid, chips देके वो उसको examine किया जाता है, test किया जाता है. During the shot taking, ऐसा ऐसा ना हो, wobble ना हो. Okay, so there's a lot of labor which goes behind a track shot, laying the tracks. Okay, so it's not handheld. Autobiographical elements है, ठीक है, चलो ट्रूफो का अपना लाइफ से इन्फ्लुएंस्ड है. ओके, काफी सारे ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल एलिमेंट्स डेफिनेटली है. ओके, ऑल्टर ईगो तुम लिख रहे हो, आत्मवाद नोनेल. ओके, exploration of adolescence. Definitely, the film is a poignant exploration of adolescence, capturing the challenges and complexities of growing up. Truffaut, the pronunciation is Truffaut, huh? Not Truffaut. Francois Truffaut. Truffaut skillfully navigates the emotional turbulence of youth, presenting a universal coming-of-age story. Very good coming-of-age. How a child matures. That is called coming-of-age. Especially this term is used for adolescent boys and girls. You know, they go through some kind of an experience and a difficult experience, and they suddenly have a realization about life. They suddenly grow up. Okay, non-linear narrative तो है ही नहीं. पता नहीं तुम क्यों non-linear. It's a very linear narrative. It's a very straight narrative. Truffaut employs a non-linear narrative structure, allowing the audience to piece together Atwa's life through a series of episodic events. Okay, episodic है, ठीक है. This unconventional episodic events का मतलब non-linear नहीं है. Episodic events is also linear. Linear मतलब what is non-linear and what is linear? Non-linear, you going back and forth in time. That is non-linear. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so it is a very linear. It has a very linear structure. It is not non-linear. Okay, ठीक है. Innovative use of music, haunting score of Atwa's escape from a juvenile detention center is accompanied by the haunting score of Jean Constantine. The music intensifies the emotional impact of the scene, showcasing Truffaut's ability to use sound as a narrative tool. Symbolic imagery. The film is rich in symbolic imagery such as recurring image of Atwa running, representing his desire for freedom. Truffaut employs visual metaphors to convey deeper emotions and themes throughout the. What are those metaphors? Okay, तो तुमने mention नहीं किया those metaphors and symbols. Symbol तो ठीक है, तुमने symbolic imagery बोला, दौड़ रहा है. Humanizing authority figures in contrast to the conventional portrayals. Truffaut humanizes authority figures in the film. The school teacher played by Guy DeComble is not a mere antagonist, but a nuanced character. Nuanced मतलब उसका characters में layers है. He's not a completely dark character. That is the meaning of nuanced. Okay, reflecting the director's desire for complex, realistic characters. ठीक है. Breaking the fourth wall. वो last scene में है when he looks directly into the camera, challenging the audience. Okay, the famous track shot. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't know where you borrowed these things from, not this information, but they are not all of them are not right. Okay, गलत information भी है because handle है ही नहीं, non-linear structure है ही नहीं इसमें. ठीक है. और एक चीज मैं देख रहा था, ये सबको बोलना चाहता हूँ कि जब भी तुम कोई फिल्म डिस्कस करो ना, एक या दो लाइन में फिल्म का समरी दे दो. हम लोग लॉग लाइन बोलते हैं या प्रेमिस बोलते हैं. What is the film about? Truffaut's 400 blows bracket in 91 deals with an it's a coming of age story of a juvenile who's kind of treated as a delinquent, coming from a dysfunctional family. Okay, innocence. It's about innocence lost, and now he runs away from sort of an orphanage, remand home, where he's put. एक या दो लाइन में कहानी बोल देने का, जो उससे ज्यादा नहीं, क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स लोग क्या करते हैं, पूरा प्लॉट लिखना शुरू कर देते हैं, 2-3 पेज लिखते हैं. नहीं नहीं नहीं, दैट इज नॉट. पीपल हैव ऑलरेडी सीन द फिल्म और वॉच द फिल्म. डू हैव टू राइट द होल प्लॉट. premise on log line is 1 line, maximum 2 lines. Okay, chalo then A Revoir les Enfants by Louis Mann, a very important director. Okay. Historical context and autobiography. Again, what is it about you have not mentioned? Okay, what is the log line or the premise? Historical context and autobiographical elements are Awale and Fant is set against the backdrop of the World War II, drawing from Louis Malle's personal experiences at a Catholic boarding school during the German occupation of France. Malle infuses the film with autobiographical elements, adding authenticity and depth to the narrative. Cinematography and visual style, ठीक है, तुमने categories किया, अच्छा किया. The film showcases Malle's master in cinematography. The cinematographer Renato Berta capturing the period's ambience beautifully. Malle employs a combination of long takes and intimate close-ups, allowing the audience to engage emotionally with the characters and unfolding the events. ये पूरा professional critic का language तुमने use किया. Okay. Realism and subtlety in storytelling. Malle's storytelling in the film is characterized by realism and subtlety. The narrative unfolds organically, avoiding overt sentimentality. सही है, the characters' emotions are conveyed through nuanced performances and restrained dialogues, contributing to the film's emotional impact. Exploration of friendship and betrayal. At the core of the film is the exploration of friendship and betrayal. Malle skillfully navigates the complexities of adolescent relationships, especially in the face of the war's harsh realities. The friendship between the two central characters is portrayed with sincerity, making the eventual betrayal all the more poignant. Social and political commentary. Malle uses the film as a platform for social and political commentary, shedding light on issues such as anti-Semitism and the collaboration of French citizens with the German occupation. The film subtly critiques societal norms and prejudices prevalent during that period. Musical score and sound design. The film's musical score, composed by Olivier Bernard, complements the narrative seamlessly. Malle utilizes sound design effectively, creating a soundscape that enhances the atmosphere and emotional resonance of key scenes. The use of music becomes a crucial element in the childhood innocence and loss of innocence. Malle skillfully captures the essence of childhood innocence and explores the profound impact of the war on the loss of that innocence. The juxtaposition of carefree moments with the looming threat of the war creates a poignant contrast, amplifying the emotional weight of the narrative. Critical acclaim and awards मिला क्या क्या सब तुमने लिखा, गोल्डन लायन वगैरह वगैरह. ओके, द फिल्म सक्सेस. तो अभी देखो, बात ऐसा है कि तुमने ये जो लिखा वो समझ में ही आ रहा है कि तुम जो लैंग्वेज तुमने जो यूज किया, इट्स सो रिफाइंड, इट्स सो पॉलिश्ड, and your evaluation of the film is so layered. It looks like as if it's written by a professional film critic, isn't it? Not only a professional film critic, but somebody who's well versed in the craft of cinema. It is not expected of a student. ठीक है, लेकिन तुम्हारे पास टाइम भी नहीं था. You could not have seen 4 films in a single day and write about them. तो तुमने सहारा लिया, गूगल का सहारा लिया होगा, चैट जीपीटी का सहारा लिया होगा. लेकिन तुम पकड़े जाओगे. तुम अगर सपोज ऐसा लैंग्वेज अगर तुम यूज कर रहे हो एग्जाम में, तो यू कैन नॉट यूज दिस काइंड ऑफ लैंग्वेज फॉर द वेरी सिंपल रीजन यू डू नॉट नो व्हाट आर द क्वेश्चंस. ओके, तुम रट के सपोज गए हो कुछ है, और वो रट के तुम अगर फेंक रहे हो, तो तुम पकड़े जाओ, तुरंत पकड़े जाओ by the choice of your English words and the choice of the construction, the sentence construction and all. But I can understand the limitation कि this is a difficult question. Okay, difficult question मतलब देखो, मैं भी ये फिल्म देखा हूँ. Okay, लेकिन मुझे उतनी अच्छी तरीके से मैं 20 साल पहले देखा होगा. तो तुम अगर मुझे पूछोगे सर ये फिल्म, मैं भी बता नहीं पाऊंगा, है ना. मुझे फिर से देखना पड़ेगा. हाँ, ब्रेथलेस I remember very well. 400 Blows I remember very well because I keep on watching those films once in a while. Okay, so I have some personal knowledge. I can write about them, but that is not expected of you guys. Okay, and that is the trouble with this exam. मतलब you are required to know so many things. Okay, it's almost like UPSC का तैयारी. UPSC कैंडिडेट को सब कुछ जानना जरूरी है. Okay, so it becomes very tough. So this exam also becomes very tough. हमारे टाइम में ये ऐसी क्वेश्चंस नहीं आते थे. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 30 years ago. बिकॉज हमारे टाइम में इतना एक्सपोजर नहीं था. देयर वाज नो टेलीविजन, सिर्फ नेशनल दूरदर्शन था. वी आर नॉट एक्सपोज टू वर्ल्ड सिनेमा until unless we went to film societies, Calcutta, Delhi, metropolitan cities. There are film societies. We were exposed to it, but vast majority of the students are not exposed to world cinema, and that is why these kind of questions never came. But today, you guys are exposed to world cinema. There's a channel called OTT platform called Mubi, MUBI, isn't it? So, and you're required to watch these films and get acquainted and kind of update yourselves. That is the kind of knowledge that is desired of you now. Breathless, directed by Godard's landmark film, The French New Year, this film several points. Innovative narrative style, of course, unconventional techniques, and its influence on modern cinema. Here are 8 specific points for appreciating Breathless. Now, you don't write, here are 8 specific points. वो तो पता है ना? वो तो तुम्हें पता है. Just a moment. Here are 8 specific points. 8 specific. Here are 8 specific points. ये लिखना जरूरी नहीं है क्योंकि तुम्हें already बोला गया 8 specific points. So don't repeat portions from your questions. ठीक है? Narrative, you know, Breath is known for its groundbreaking narrative structure. Godard abandons traditional storytelling techniques and employs a free-flowing improvisational style. सही है. The film unfolds almost in real time, providing an immediate and unfiltered experience for the audience. The narrative approach was a departure from the classical linear storytelling prevalent at that time. देखो यहाँ पे भी देखो क्लासिकल लीनियर स्टोरी टेलिंग ब्रेथलेस आल्सो हैज अ लीनियर स्टोरी इट्स नॉट नॉन लीनियर ठीक है ना सो इट्स इनोवेटिव इसका जो नैरेटिव स्ट्रक्चर का जो इनोवेशन है यू नो इट डज हैव अ काइंड ऑफ अ कन्वेंशनल स्टोरी एक्चुअली but how that conventional storytelling departs from traditional Hollywood. It's a rework of Hollywood gangster films. It pays homage to Hollywood gangsters because this French New Wave filmmakers, especially Godard, Truffaut, Chabrol, you know, Jacques Rivette, Eric Romer, these guys were huge fans of Hollywood cinema. But not all Hollywood filmmakers. They had a love and hate relationship with Hollywood. So this film, particularly Breathless, is kind of a rework of the American gangster films. It's a rework. Okay, so now these kind of discussions, what do I mean by rework or subversion of the gangster genre? We have to go deep into explanations, which is not required at this stage. Okay, so it has a linear structure, of course. Jump cuts. Godard's use of the point number 2, jump cuts. Godard's use of jump cuts in Breathless was revolutionary. First time jump cuts were being used. There's one particular French film made by a great French director called Jean-Pierre Melville. Jean-Pierre Melville was senior to these guys. He had used jump cuts in one of his films. And it was he who suggested Godard. Godard का फिल्म ब्रेथलेस के जंप कट्स के पीछे भी एक कहानी है कि ये फिल्म बहुत लंबा हो जा रहा है तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स ने बोला यार ये फिल्म बहुत लंबा है छोटा कर तो गोदार का फर्स्ट फिल्म है गोदार डिडंट नो मैं छोटा कैसे करूं सीन्स आई कैन नॉट टेक अवे सीन्स देन इट विल अफेक्ट द स्टोरी सो ही कंसल्टेड ही शोड द फिल्म टू Jean-Pierre Melville सीनियर डायरेक्टर तो Jean-Pierre Melville ने फिल्म देखा देख के बोला था काम कर तू ये जो लंबे लंबे सीन्स है ना यहाँ से बीच बीच में कट कर दे ओके तो बीच बीच में से तुम अगर कट करोगे तो कंटिन्यूटी हैम्पर्ड होगा तो होने दे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है सो दैट वाज द बर्थ ऑफ जंप कट्स एंड इट बिकेम अ फैशन टुडे वी आर ऑलवेज यूजिंग जंप कट्स okay and most people do not know most filmmakers do not know not aware कि jump cuts actually were first used in this film Breathless okay so that was a very brave step by a young director. Instead of smooth transitions, the film utilizes abrupt cuts between scenes, within scenes, not only between scenes, within scenes. Okay? Creating a sense of restlessness and immediacy. This technique not only reflects the impulsive nature of the characters, but also serves as a stylistic hallmark of the French film. Sahi baat. Okay. Parisian atmosphere, but these are all in retrospect. He did not have jump cuts in mind when he was making this film. Okay. Parisian atmosphere, the film captures the spirit of the 1960s Paris. Godard utilizes the city as a backdrop, featuring iconic locations such as the Champs-Élysées. Champs-Élysées is the spelling, but the pronunciation is Champs-Élysées. And Notre Dame Cathedral. The urban setting becomes an integral part of the narrative, contributing to the film's atmosphere and sense of peace. Iconic characters, Breathless introduce audiences to the charismatic and character played by the character of Michel Foucault, played by Jean-Paul Belmondo. Michel embodies the rebellious spirit of the French New Wave with his carefree attitude, sunglasses, and constant cigarette smoking. The character is an archetype of anti-establishment ethos prevalent in the movie. In fact, this character का जो body language है, जो style है, cigarette पीने का style है, sunglass पहनने का style है, you know, or there's a lip movement. He's always doing this, like this. It's a direct homage, a copy of a very famous American film star called Humphrey Bogart, who died in 1957. Okay, so the character in the film styles himself very consciously on this guy, Humphrey Bogart. Okay. Question 5, homage to American cinema. हाँ यहाँ पे लिखा है Godard pays homage to American film noir and crime genres. Film noir is a urban crime वाले films. Film noir, N-O-I-R, not noir, and it's a French word in fact. And crime genres like gangster films and all, infusing breathless with a sense of homage to Hollywood. The film references and borrows from classic American movies, blending these influences with the innovative techniques of the French New Wave, creating a unique cinematic language. True. Naturalistic performance. The performances of Breathless are marked by a sense of naturalism. Jean Seberg, who plays Patricia Francini, and Jean-Paul Belmondo deliver authentic and spontaneous performances. And scripted dialogues, very important, and improvisational acting contribute to the film's realism and break away from polished performances of classicals. Use of music, jazz score, तुमने लिखा, cinematography and handheld camera. Rahul Kothar, very famous, they're very famous. Characterized by use of handheld cameras adds a sense of immediacy to the film. Okay, and the handheld shots provide a dynamic and documentary life quality to the visuals. Or handheld क्यों लिया? ये भी देखो, for the first time in the history of cinema, handheld is being used because गुदार का कहना है सस्ते में फिल्म बनाने का है, मेरे पास ज्यादा बजट नहीं। हाँ, तो सस्ते में अगर फिल्म बनाने का है, ट्रैक और ट्रॉली के लिए पैसा नहीं है मेरे, तो मैं क्या करूं? चलो हैंडल, कंधे में कैमरा लेके कैमरामैन दौड़ेगा, ठीक है ना? सो दैट वाज द बर्थ ऑफ हैंडल कैमरा and it became a style. It became so popular now. Everybody, most films they use handle camera. But this is the film that started the style. Okay, so that way, Godard, we say there is cinema. Godard is so influential, such an influential this thing in cinema, history of cinema, that we say there's cinema before Godard and there is cinema after Godard. Godard is like the milestone, the most important milestone. Godard, okay. He liberated filmmaking. क्यों ट्रैक्स ट्रॉली का क्यों जरूरत है? हाँ, मैं हैंडल लूंगा, वो स्मूथ कंटिन्यूटी का क्या जरूरत है? मैं जंप कट्स करूंगा. The characters are looking into the camera when they're walking on the streets. The characters are being followed from behind, which is against all classical cinematic rule. Because in classical Hollywood फिल्मों में तुम देखोगे the camera has to face the character, especially if it's hero heroine. वहाँ तो वो पीछे से फॉलो कर रहा है, हम लोग को चेहरा दिखाई नहीं दे रहा. बहुत देर बाद when they turn towards the camera we see their चेहरा. Okay, not only that, तुम्हारा kind of when they're following the characters, रस्ते में जो the walkers, the passers by, they're looking to the camera, the shooting चल रहा है. Godard is not bothered. In realistic cinema तुम क्या करते हो? Somebody looks into the camera, अरे कट कैमरा में देख लिया. Godard बोला नहीं चलने दे, no problem. देखने दे कैमरा में. Okay. Okay, My Night at Maud's, Eric Romer, 1969, philosophical dialogues. My Night at Maud's. Again, we have not given the summary. Is renowned for its intellectually stimulating dialogues. Romer, who was deeply influenced by philosophy, brings forth discussions on morality, faith, and relationships. The film's characters engage in lengthy, thought-provoking conversations that delve into existential questions, making it the hallmark of the French New Wave. Okay. His films are very talky. There are a lot of conversations. Eric Romer deals with man-woman relationship dramas. He's an expert. Okay. And and his, of course, unlike Godard is the most radical of them all. Okay. His filmmaking is very controlled. Okay. हाँ, गुदार के बारे में और एक चीज मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि वो ब्रेथलेस जो बनाया, वो उसने बोला सस्ते में फिल्म बनाऊंगा, ठीक है ना, लेकिन एक चीज में मैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करूंगा, एक्टिंग में मैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करूंगा. उसलिए उसने ही कास्ट जॉन पॉल बेलमोंडो, वाज ऑलरेडी अ वेरी बिग स्टार इन फ्रेंच फिल्म, दो ही वर्क फॉर लेस मनी. उसका लॉजिक, गुदार का लॉजिक ये था, अगर मैं कोई नया एक्टर लूंगा तो मुझे बहुत सारे रीटेक्स लेने पड़ेंगे, है ना, रीटेक्स में पैसा खर्चा होगा, ओके, टाइम बर्बाद होगा. तो मैं एक्टिंग में कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करूंगा, एक्टिंग में मैं प्रोफेशनल बंदे को लूँ, सो दैट काम फटाफट हो जाए, जल्दी जल्दी हो. ओके. एनीवे, Eric Romer, the film employs number 2, naturalistic aesthetic characteristic of Romer style. The use of long takes and minimalist settings allows the audience to immerse themselves in the characters' lives. Romer often shot on location, capturing the authenticity of the environment and emphasizing the human experience. Three is character complexity. Romer is known for creating complex, multidimensional characters, and My Night at Mods is no exception. The protagonist, Jean-Louis, grapples with his moral convictions and the unpredictability of life. The nuanced characterizations contribute to the film's realism and emotional impact. Real-time narrative, the film unfolds in real time, heightening the sense of immediacy and authenticity. Romer's choice to structure the narrative around a single night adds tension and urgency to the character interactions, providing a unique viewing experience. Minimalist score, consistent with the French New Wave's rejection of traditional cinematic conventions, My Night at Mods features a minimalist score. The absence of a melodramatic soundtrack allows the audience to focus on characters, dialogues, and emotions, enhancing the film's intimacy. Influence of literature. Okay, देखो again you see ये जो points तुमने लिखा है naturally one can understand it's not, it has not come from your head. I mean you're borrowed. But as I told you, I'll not go through all the points. All the points are relevant. यहाँ पे सही तुम बोल रहे हो. Unlike the other, unlike 400 rules, यहाँ पे कुछ गलत information. ठीक है. So narrative ambiguity. My Night at Mods is characterized by narrative ambiguity, leaving certain aspects of the story open to interpretation. Romer trusts the audience's intelligence, allowing them to draw their conclusions about the characters' motivations and the consequences of the choices. This narrative approach challenges viewers and contributes to the film's lasting impact. Okay, again, it's so, your answer is so learned, so refined. Okay, so it becomes doubtful. So, लेकिन मैं बोलूँगा, you did not have a choice. Okay, I am not your examiner, and so I am just your guide. Okay, but one has to be alert. Alert in the sense one has to be equipped. मतलब it's such a difficult exam, FTI entrance, कि one has to know almost everything. You know, which was not the case during our time. ठीक है, चलो जीत. अभी कोई गीत अगर पूछो, कोई क्वेश्चन है तो पूछो, कोई डाउट्स, कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन अगर तुम्हें चाहे तो पूछो मुझे.
सर एक बार इसका वो क्या स्ट्रक्चर बता दीजिए कि कैसे लिखा जाए,
नहीं
देखा
नहीं, तुम
जाए
सही
तो
लिखा, स्ट्रक्चर
ऑथेंटिक है।
ऐसा ही तुम जैसे लिखे हो सही लिखने का है. मतलब cinematography prowess, narrative ambiguity, you know, things that have appealed to you. ये फिल्म तुमने देखा नहीं होगा, जो फिल्म तुमने देखा है, suppose whatever film you have seen sometimes. Okay, स्क्रीन प्ले कैसा है, परफॉर्मेंस कैसा है, कैमरा वर्क कैसा है, साउंड डिजाइनिंग कैसा है, साउंड डिजाइनिंग के अंदर म्यूजिक कैसा है, यू नो. सो ऐसा कैटेगरीज करके लिख सकते हो, थीम्स के ऊपर लिखो. एवरी फिल्म हैज सर्टेन थीम्स. व्हाट आर द इंपॉर्टेंट थीम्स दैट अ फिल्म डील्स विद, you know. So these are the different categories, headings of categories, whatever you call it. Okay, and शुरुआत में एक छोटा सा एक या दो लाइन मैक्सिमम, लॉन्ग लाइन जिसे हम लोग बोलते हैं, so one line or two line summary of the whole. It should not be more than 40 words. चलो 50 words, no problem. Okay, not more than that. Don't write a paragraph. What is the film about? Okay, 2 lines max, 40 words max, 50 words. ठीक है, तो कैटेगरी लिखो. पहले बोलो स्टोरी एंड स्क्रीन प्ले. ठीक है, परफॉर्मेंस, सिनेमाटोग्राफी. व्हाट इज सो स्पेशल अबाउट सिनेमाटोग्राफी? एडिटिंग के बारे में अगर लिखने का, एडिटिंग के बारे में लिखो. म्यूजिक और साउंड डिजाइन के बारे में लिखो. ओके, सो ऐसा डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज करते तुम लिख सकते हो. थीम्स के बारे में लिखो. ठीक है, एनीथिंग एल्स दैट कम्स टू योर माइंड उसके बारे में लिखो. ठीक है. And again, avoid I went to see this film, I was pissed off, it was not what I had expected. I thought I'll walk out of the hall. वो I नहीं चाहिए. Don't bring yourself in the picture. Okay, तन्वी आ जाओ.
ओके सर. तो सर मैंने भी एक दिन में 4 फिल्में नहीं देखी हैं, बस समरी पढ़ के लिखा हुआ है मैंने.
हाँ,
ओके
पता है.
सर. चूज वन फीचर फिल्म ऑफ 4 न्यू वेव फ्रेंच
Don't read the question. We know the question. Chabrol का La Femme Infidèle,
Okay.
1969. It's a
So
farm,
this plot focuses on Charles Devles, who runs an insurance firm in Paris and lives with his wife Helen. When he realizes that Helen is having an extramarital affair, he decides to kill her lover.
वेरी गुड. देखो ये 2 लाइन में तुमने फिल्म का समरी लिखा. हाँ, तो
Narrative
ये,
information.
हाँ बोलो.
La Femme Infidel shows Chabrol's mastery in the field of creating suspense and tension, and like keeping a non-linear narrative and unexpected twists and turns to hook the audience up. And subtle cinematography. The visual language of his film was next level as it focused on even the small details and long takes focusing on the character's emotions. Psychological details. The Chabrol movies focus on the complexities of human relation and their psychological state, like focusing on the non-verbal cues, body language, and expression of the characters. Hmm. Criticizing bourgeois morality. The films of
Bourgeois, yeah, just about. It's not bourgeois. It's called bourgeois. Bourgeois.
bourgeois.
Bourgeois. Bourgeois. Okay,
Bourgeois. The
yeah.
films of Chabrol criticize bourgeois morality by the characters' actions and the consequences they faced. Chabrol questions the societal norms and the expectations. Symbolic metaphorical references. The use of symbolism is to enhance the thematic depth of the story of the movie, by which the audience can interpret the film by the cues of visual storytelling. Hitchcock influence. Chabrol is often referred to as the French Hitchcock as he pays homage to Alfred Hitchcock in the La Femme Infidèle.
La femme.
His
It's not
art
femme. Femme. Huh? Femme
ला
is
फेम
femme.
हाँ ला फेम
Femme. Femme.
मुझे फ्रेंच थोड़ा बेसिक आता था लेकिन भूल गए. His art of building suspense has given the audience a feel of Hitchcock film. Blurring the right and wrong. The films of Chabrol used to blur the lines between right and the wrong and providing a depth to the narrative, challenging the tradition perception of the morality. Social commentary. The film subtly even commented on the issue of bourgeois morality and the problems
Bourgeois.
in the society.
Bourgeois morality.
Bourgeois morality and the problems in the society because of it.
Okay, chalo, I will not comment, because you yourself have admitted because as I was telling the other student,
Francois Truffaut. Francois Truffaut.
एक
Uh,
second, Francois Truffaut.
सर जैसा लिखा है
Francois.
वैसे ही बोलने दीजिए ना, अभी नहीं आता लोगों
सीख
को.
लो, तुम सीख लो. Francois Truffaut, 400 blows. हाँ, चलो, हाँ, करो.
Okay. The film revolves around juvenile Anthony being neglected by the parents after quitting. Sorry. The film revolves around juvenile Anthony being neglected by his parents, quitting school and leaves his home, and involves in petty crimes across Paris. He wanders the streets of Paris, discovering the city like never before. So this film has autobiographical elements, as the film draws inspiration from Truffaut's own troubled childhood, which makes it a personal film for Truffaut and gives an authentic touch to it. Nouvelle Vogue aesthetics.
Nouvelle Vague मतलब new wave, the French new wave.
Yeah,
This is
his
one
films
information
are
you must know.
spontaneous because of the techniques like handheld cameras, natural lighting, which were very innovative that time.
Handle है ही नहीं इस फिल्म में. I don't know where you guys are getting this information. Anyway, चलो, sympathetic portrayal of youth. Then
It portrays the youth in a sympathetic way by which people can connect with the youth or understand the problems of the adolescents. Like the movie's main character, Anthony, was involved in petty crimes after leaving the school. Breaking conventions. It challenged the traditional narrative structures, opting for a more episodic, character driven, and realistic approaches, which marked Truffaut's new wave. Cinematic realism. Truffaut captures the post-war Paris and the impact of war on the people by including the real location and the non-professional actors to capture the authenticity. Symbolism of flight. The recurring motive of flight was used to symbolize the freedom which Antony desired. Humanistic approach. The Truffaut presents the characters very naturally and realistically by showing their good qualities, flaws, insecurities, and making the people connect with them. Influence and legacy. 400 Blows is a landmark coming of age which is benchmark for the genre of coming of age, and also inspired many filmmakers to explore this genre, making it a well-recognized genre in the world of cinema.
ठीक है, चलो. Breathless.
Jean-Luc Godard. Jean-Luc Godard की कौन सी फिल्म थी ये? Breathless. Okay. This is the story of Michael, who is a petty thief, steals a car. The story is around Michael, a petty thief, stealing a car and killing a policeman. He then made
Patricia, an aspiring journalist who offers him asylum and later tries to
and later
seduce her into running
seduces
away
her
with him
into
to
running
Italy.
away with him to Italy. Okay. Breathless is the film which is known for the iconic jump cuts and non-linear editing, which shows that Godard is challenging the traditional norms of filmmaking. Breaking the fourth wall. In his movie, Godard used to break the fourth wall by which the characters interacted with the audience, which connected the people watching the film with the characters. Prevalent theme. Breathless explored the theme of the aimlessness and detachment related to the disillusionment of the characters. सॉरी यार बताएं मुझे कंटिन्यूअस बोलने पे यॉर्निंग अक्सर होती रहती है. Yeah, homage to Hollywood gangster dramas. Godard plays a tribute to the Hollywood noir and gangster film. This has been reflected in his visual style and film narrative, showing his passion for Hollywood.
Okay.
Anti-hero protagonist. The protagonist of his movies is different from the definition of a traditional hero, which is a grey shade, which is shown the lead character of the movie Breathless, Michael Poycart. Jazz score. The jazz score by Martial Solal enhances the cool and rebellious attitude of the atmosphere. This shows the strong portrayal of the characters in which the mood of the film is made by the music. Love for the city Paris. It portrays the environment of the Paris and shoots like a documentary, capturing the urban setting with the streets and the landmarks of the city. Political subtext. In between the narrative of romance and crime, this also added depth in the narrative by addressing the socio-political situation of the time, by which the audience deeply related to it.
Hello.
Okay. Eric Romer. My Midnight's Maud. The film focuses on the character Jean Louis, a devout Catholic, and Maud, a divorced woman, who spend night together conversing about religion, love, philosophy, and morality. Season symbolism. My Night Maud was a part of Romer's six moral tales, in which each tale focused on one season. It can be cited as a good example of symbolism tells that philosophy of the film is linked with each season. Morality. Morality is the film revolves around the questions about morality and the dilemmas with it, mainly focused on the discussion about religion, morality, faith, and relationships. Okay, conversational cinema. The film revolves around the lengthy conversation of two characters by which the audience can go into the depth of the characters by their dialogues, telling every character the philosophy of life. Observational way. The Romer's observational way of filmmaking is provided meticulous detailing to each and everything in the setting. The close-up shots are used for capturing nuanced human relationships and interactions. Minimalist cinematography. The lighting and the movements of the camera help the making a great ambience and the kind of intimate atmosphere in the setting. Exploring the free will. The film explored the free will of the characters in making the decision and how it impacted their lives and their philosophies and moral spectrum. Religious exploration. It even dived deeper into the religious philosophy of Romer through his characters. The conversation of the characters are issue of the faith. Realistic characters. The characters by Romer are relatable and grounded, by which the people watching the film can empathize with the character of Jean and Maud.
4 फिल्म कवर किया तुमने? हाँ?
हाँ, चारों हो गए.
अच्छा, कहाँ से इंफॉर्मेशन मिला तुम्हें ये सब? चैट जीपीटी?
समरी पढ़ी
कहाँ से?
गूगल से, और बाकी चैट जीपीटी ने एनालाइज करने में मदद किया. सर मतलब ऐसा ना प्रोजेक्ट देता, अगर आप समझ लीजिए एक दिन में एक फिल्म देखने का प्रोजेक्ट देते तो
हाँ.
फिर भी हम बना पाते.
नहीं, सही बात है. ये एक्चुअली एक फिल्म अगर होता तो बेटर होता, ठीक है ना? तो लेकिन ठीक है, एटलीस्ट यू दिस प्रोवाइडेड यू विथ अ लॉट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. नाउ यू नो अबाउट अ लॉट ऑफ French filmmakers. Look at it this way, okay? Because yesterday it's only you who brought up this issue कि sir एक दिन में 4 film देख के कैसे how do we write? Okay, that is an issue. So I'm not being harsh on you today क्योंकि मुझे पता ही है all of you, none of you could have seen 4 films in a single day and written about them. Okay, क्योंकि एक फिल्म देखना, फिल्म को प्रोसेस करना, उसको समझना, अंडरस्टैंडिंग, जो मेच्योरिटी जो है, वो मेच्योरिटी तुम लोगों का भी है ही नहीं. वो मेच्योरिटी तभी आएगा जब तुम फिल्म स्कूल में जाओगे, सीखोगे. सो
डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज जो आपने उस दिन देखने को कही थी, तो डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज खुद से देखी थी.
हाँ हाँ, तो क्योंकि एक ही डॉक्यूमेंट्री यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू एनालाइज ना, यू आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू एनालाइज 4 डॉक्यूमेंट्री. So at least look at this session from this angle. At least you a lot of things you did not know about the French New Wave. A lot of filmmakers you had not heard of, maybe, you know, who belong to this movement, a very influential, a very important movement, which has its influences even now, even today. Okay, there's not a single filmmaker in the world who has not been influenced by this movement, the French New Wave or Nouvelle Vague. ठीक है ना? So and who are these important directors? Jean-Luc Godard, Breathless, okay, and François Truffaut, 400 Blows. Okay, so Breathless का script was written by Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard. The script was written by François Truffaut, जिसने 400 Blows बनाया. ठीक है? So they were friends. In fact, ये information भी जान लो, जो अभी मैं बोलने जा रहा हूँ कि there a little background about the French New Wave. Okay, in the 1950s, okay, there was a very influential film magazine. I'll just write down. I'll stop sharing for a while. Okay, I'll write. There was a very I'll chat. Let me put the chat box. There was a very famous French film magazine, Cahiers du Cinema. Okay. एंड कायर्स डू सिनेमा का, ये लिख लो, ये इन्फॉर्मेशन जो मैं अभी लिख रहा हूँ ये लिख लो, ठीक है. इसका एडिटर था आंद्रे बाजा, BAZIN. He was the editor. Okay, Andre Baza. It's not Bazin.
So he was the mentor of right.
Yeah. He was an intellectual. He was a profound intellectual. He was a Catholic. He was a practicing Catholic. ठीक है ना? So और ये कायर्स डू सिनेमा मैगजीन जो था, ये यहाँ पे ये जो 5 फिल्म मेकर्स हैं, ओके, Jean-Luc Godard जिसने ब्रेथलेस बनाया, ओके, फ्रांसवा ट्रूफो जिसने ये बनाया अपना 400 Blows बनाया, एरिक रोमर माय नाइट एट मॉड्स जो बनाया, and there were 2 other directors, not Louis Malle. There's another director called Chabrol. ठीक है, Chabrol भी, some of you have covered Chabrol, and there's another called Jacques Rivette. These 5 they were not filmmakers, okay, they were young people in their early 20s, okay, early 20s or mid 20s. They were film buffs. वो जमाने में they were watching films at a Sarkari theater, which is, I'll write down the name of the Sarkari theater in Paris, Cinema, THEQUE Cinémathèque Français. ये मैं इसीलिए तुम लोगों को लिखने बोल रहा हूँ कि ये क्वेश्चंस भी आ सकता है. व्हाट इज सिनेमाथेक फ्रांसे? हु वाज आंद्रे बाजा? व्हाट इज कायर्स डू सिनेमा? ओके, और ये सिनेमाथेक फ्रांसे का क्यूरेटर था, आई एम फॉरगेटिंग द नेम, हाँ, हेनरी लैंग्लोआ, HEN हेनरी LANGLOIS, हेनरी लैंग्लोआ. ही वाज द curator of the Cinémathèque Français. Okay, and Andre Baza was the editor of Cahiers du Cinéma. So you know, एक साथ मिलके Andre Baza, Henri Langlois, or these 5 young critics, they were critics. Okay, they were watching American films and they were watching films from, you know, Italian neorealist film movement, which happened in the 1940s. Okay, and they were engaging in serious discussions, analyzing their films. Okay, doing postmortem of the films. And Henry Langlois, Andre Baza, they were seniors, okay, and profound intellectuals also, okay, and philosophers also. They have some kind of philosophical understanding, okay. And these young 5 guys were, you know, engaging in discussion, passionate discussion about cinema, and then they were writing reviews of these American films, of these Italian films, okay, and they're analyzing films like Bicycle Thieves by Vittorio De Sica, Okay, Rossellini, Roberto Rossellini. This is another. These are all Italian filmmakers. They're watching Soviet films, Russian films. Okay, and they're watching films from their own country, from their own culture. Films, which have preceded them. Films which were made in the 1920s and the 30s and the 40s. They're analyzing films by filmmakers like Jean Renoir. Okay, ये Jean Renoir, ये नाम भी लिख लो जरा. Jean Renoir. Jean Renoir. Okay, a very senior guy. Okay, Jean Renoir का है एक famous film Rules of the Game. Rules of the Game. Okay, very famous film. So these films were made in the 1930s and 40s. They were not part of the Jean Renoir is not a part of the French New Wave. Okay, so they're watching these films, they're analyzing these films, and they're writing about these films. There are other filmmakers also. Okay, and this 1930s का जो French cinema का जो period है, it was known as the French cinema का जो period is called poetic realism. Okay, the films which were made during that decade, those films came to be known as the films of poetic realism. Okay, so anyway, so these five guys were watching films, analyzing films, writing reviews, and then they decided कि भैया हम भी films बनाएंगे. ठीक है ना? So they were very passionate. So they started. They had no practical experience. They gathered their experience by only watching films, okay, and writing about films and reading magazines, also film magazines, maybe watching shoots, okay, and they decided to free filmmaking from the traditional art of filmmaking, studio-based filmmaking. ओके भैया सस्ते में फिल्म बनाने का है, हमारे पास ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं है तो कैसा फिल्म बनाएंगे, चलो हैंड हेल्ड कर लेंगे, ट्रैक ट्रॉली का पैसा नहीं है तो ओके जंप कट्स करेंगे, ओके और उतना रियलिज्म के ऊपर जैसे कि हॉलीवुड वाले जितना ध्यान देते हैं कि हम लोग ऐसा नहीं कि हम लोग रियल लोकेशन में जाके शूट करेंगे, हमारा जो कहानी होगा ओके डील विद यंग पीपल, ऑर्डिनरी पीपल, दे विल नॉट बी ग्लैमरस पीपल, did not be working class people. जैसे Italian neorealist film movement जो था, it was dealing with people from the working class. Okay, and these guys did not necessarily make films of with characters from the working class. There could be middle class people, middle class French people, French families. हाँ बोलो. हाँ
सर, जैसा आपने बोला था कि गोडार्ड ने मतलब ही लुक्ड फॉर अ प्रोफेशनल एक्टर ताकि ज्यादा पैसे वगैरह उसमें, तो ऑन द कॉन्ट्ररी जबकि दे वर विटनेसिंग इटालियन न्यूरियलिज्म एज वेल, तो दे सेका ने तो बाइसिकल थीव्स में जो भी लोग काम कर रहे थे, दे आर नॉन एक्टर्स एक्चुअली. और वो तो जी सर, और उसमें जो लोग जो उसमें बाइसिकल थीफ में जो मेन प्रोटोगनिस्ट है, जो फादर बना है, वो तो असली में भी शायद साइकिल से ही कुछ उसका रिलेशन था.
वो तो मुझे पता नहीं, but he was picked up from the streets.
जी सर.
Even the son was picked up from the streets. ठीक है, लेकिन वहाँ पे जो बाइसिकल थीव्स का जो प्रोटैगनिस्ट है, फादर, उसका जो वाइफ है ना, वो she was a professional actress. Okay,
yes, sir.
So not everybody was a non-professional actor. She was professional. Not only that, though the Italian realist filmmakers were against studio shooting, ठीक है, वो फादर, वो फैमिली का जो फ्लैट, जो छोटा सा फ्लैट दिखाया गया है, that was a set, that was not a real location.
That was not a real location.
No, that was not a real location. That was a set. ये बहुत लोगों को पता नहीं. बाकी तो of course पूरा ही real location, outdoors है बाकी.
And sir, is it true, sir, that Do Biga Zameen was actually inspired by bicycle thieves?
नहीं, देखो क्या है, दो बीघा जमीन, early Bimal Roy, early Raj Kapoor, okay.
Yes, sir.
And early Raj Kapoor, and then so many other films, of course, Satyajit Ray. They were not influenced by the story of bicycle thieves. It's not that कि हाँ ये कहानी का plot लेंगे ऐसा characters होगा, ऐसा नहीं है. Their style, their approach. Do Biga Zameen is dealing with a man, a poor guy who's cheated by the money lender, the wicked money lender in the village. पैसा लौटाने का है, कैसा लौटाएंगे, पैसा है नहीं, तो वो कलकत्ता में आके वो रिक्शा पुलर बन जाता है, फिर उसको स्ट्रगल दिखाया जाता है. तो दैट इज नॉट द स्टोरी ऑफ बाइसाइकिल थीव्स, बट बाइसाइकिल थीव्स का जो मेकिंग है, जो स्टाइल है, जो कैरेक्टर्स हैं,
यस सर,
जब इंजॉय, भैया ये लोग तो आउटडोर्स में शूट कर रहे हैं, वर्किंग क्लास कैरेक्टर्स है, दीज आर नॉट ग्लैमरस पीपल, ordinary people. हम भी ऐसा फिल्म बनाए. Satyajit Ray, as I told you, I think in one of those earlier classes, he had gone to, he was working in an ad agency. He went to London. He was sent by the company he was working for, a British advertising company. In 1948, he was sent to London. for some kind of a training, 3 महीना का training,
अच्छा,
ठीक है ना? तो वो लंदन में गया, वो he was already a film buff. He had already set up a film society in Calcutta, along with a few other young people who were all of them were very enthusiastic about films. But Satyajit Ray had not decided कि I'll be a filmmaker. वो ऐसा ही वो नौकरी कर रहा था, ठीक है?
अच्छा,
तो वहां पे जाके London is a big city and kind of so many theaters, and started watching films every day. Okay, because
अच्छा,
so many theaters, kind of so many films. And then one day he walked into a theater which was screening Bicycle Thieves. ठीक है, वो
अच्छा,
Bicycle Thieves देख के इतना इन्फ्लुएंस्ड हो गया कि भैया ही डिसाइड कि बॉस मुझे फिल्म मेकर बनने का, मुझे नौकरी नहीं करने का, ठीक है?
अच्छा,
एंड ही वॉच दैट फिल्म ओवर 11 consecutive evenings. Every day he was watching that film. Okay, then he came back to India, Calcutta. He did not resign from his job immediately. Took him a couple of years. He continued to work, and then he decided, भैया कैसे, what कौन सा film बनाओ वगैरह वगैरह. Then he came across this novel by a very famous this thing, Bengali novelist,
ये सब
Bibhuti
विभूति
Bhushan.
भूषण बंदोपाध्याय,
Uh-huh.
ये सब,
So he had done the pictures because he was a very good graphic artist. Okay,
yes sir,
and that's what he was doing in that advertising agency. He was drawing
yes
pictures.
sir,
Okay, so he
storyboards,
storyboards. So he had
yes
drawn
sir,
the pictures of the book, the book cover and the illustrations inside the book. The book, book meant for children, not for the adults. Pather Pachali. Okay. So he already had thorough knowledge about the novel, the story, the plot, the characters, everything. So he decided, I'll make a film on this when I make my film. Okay. So he
right sir.
storyboarded the entire thing, entire film, and he made the film. He raised money by.
Sir, I'm very sorry to interrupt, but sir, I have to get somewhere. Can we just do my answer, if
Yeah,
you may, and you may
you have
continue
to.
after that?
You have to get where?
So my family is going to a wedding. I have to join
Acha, you
them.
have to go to a wedding. ठीक है, चलो, because the discussion we are having, this is all a meaningful discussion. मैं
Yes,
तो
sir, yes,
happy
sir.
because you never know
Well, yes.
कहाँ से क्या क्वेश्चन है. ठीक है, चलो तुम्हारा मैं अभी पढ़ लूंगा. So let me share the screen, then we will continue with our discussion. ठीक है, when we have the time.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Thank you,
चलो
sir.
share screen. आदित्य का आदित्य. चलो पढ़ो.
Yes, sir. Sir, I watched just one film, Louis, by Louis Malle, My Dinner with Andre.
Okay.
The movie was about a debate between Wally and his
अच्छा, you
friend.
saw the film? You have seen this film?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा,
Yes, sir. Yes,
good.
sir. I saw the film
Okay,
today.
okay, चलो. हाँ.
Yes, sir. The log line would be two old friends from theater who were discussing about their journeys of life over a dinner.
Okay.
Okay, so the things that I liked about the movie was, and here it goes, opening monologue, a great reflection of Western life in a capitalist society. The movie sets up the co-protagonist, Wally, by him telling about his passion for art, how his passion for art was dying as he failed to pay his bills and now cared more about money more than anything.
Okay.
Western versus arguably a spiritual life. How Andre spent night. How Andre spent night in the dense forest as a workshop for improv. Except it wasn't theater people. People were improvising their own characters of life to bring out the pleasure of stripping purpose from existence and just being honest and present in the moment, dancing and moving around like little kids in the beehive. In an improv of airplane crashing, two of the actors that were acting actually fell in love. Disgust of doctor and friend. Andre was disgusted by the doctor who gave hope to his loving father, because her mom's arm was getting I missed the word. Her mom's arm was getting better, completely failing to notice the rest of the dying woman. Such ignorant cruelty. His friends laughing around as if nothing happened made me furious as well. Electric blanket.
यहाँ पे एक चीज देखो, यहाँ पे एक चीज आदित्य, डोंट राइट अबाउट योरसेल्फ, मेड मी फ्यूरियस, ऐसा नहीं लिखने का, ठीक है ना? बाकी सब ठीक है.
So in film appreciation, we cannot write
No,
personal
don't
POVs
mention
at all.
I or me, your experience, ठीक है ना?
Okay. Electric
You might
blanket.
say it was infuriating. The experience was infuriating. Don't write
Okay.
I became furious.
Okay, sure, sir.
चलो.
Electric blanket, a strong symbol of the narrative of the film. Western society numbs us with comfort, so we keep functioning the roles we are assigned of. Wife, mother, doctor, just fulfilling the stereotypical image. While the reality is we only are ignorant, focusing on the things that we are programmed to care about. We won't know it's cold till we are under the electric blanket, nor we will snuggle with our partner for warmth. Post-globalization or a totalitarian government of money has been controlling how we think and feel. This was Andre's worry, and electric blanket was an excellent symbol, as Andre despised it, while Wally find it hard to give it up. New York is a prison. Andre called New York a prison, and residents were both the inmates and guards, unable to notice life more than they are told to. Act out of feelings instead of what is expected of them. Purpose versus omen. Purpose versus omen. Wally argued we act out of purpose, not omen. Purpose is what gives life meaning and value. Andre argued that they just drank tea in the monastery without looking forward to something. Just being. Roots are for tree to nourish, argued Wally. And Andre acknowledged impulsive purpose is good. Mechanic purpose is led by fear, and the little good of love or anything one finds in that duration, in the duration of mechanic purpose, one might become a hobo if he loses that. Sophisticated debate. The debate was an exchange of perspective with an agreement and disagreement by Wally, sometimes on the same point itself, presenting both ends of the spectrum. While no one expected to completely agree with each other's perspective, that is what a rational debate is. Discussion to take in data, which we utilize later, as Wally did by taking the taxi and noticing his childhood in the city for once. Death. Andre related death with being aware. Life is unpredictable, and we fill it up with patterns to resemble sanity and safety, but become mechanic in the process, losing human in us. Once aware of uncertainty, feeling of death creeps up. Now I don't truly understand how one must deal with it.
Okay, again, you have brought in the I, which is not desired. So, एक ही film लिखा तुमने?
Yes, sir, because I saw one.
ठीक है, yeah, no problem. So, this is what is desired. At least you are being honest, okay? And there's no, I mean, one can understand when you're reading out this has not been copied or you have not been helped by this thing. What you have done is basically taken up certain important themes that the film deals with. New York is as a prison, purpose versus woman. So these are the different themes that the film deals with. Okay, disgust of doctor and friends, Western versus an arguably spiritual life. Okay, which you have from your own conviction you have written, and it is quite admirable. Okay, because admirable in the sense कि तुम्हारा जो अनुभूति है, given your age and given your exposure, this is the best you could have done, and you have done good, quite good. And whatever has come to your mind, you have written in a very orderly manner. Okay, and small paragraphs. सिर्फ वही मैं जो बताया तुमको कि I don't bring I into it. ठीक है ना? Of course, the entire thing is your experience. That is why you're writing. That one can understand. But try to avoid the I thing. Don't write it in first person. Okay. So what you could have done, you have only dealt with the themes. You could have also written a little bit about the treatment, the visual treatment, the performance, the audio.
Cinematic. Sir, I felt about writing the treatment, and I just felt that I should write about the debate point that I gave on the 7th point, debate point. So that was the entire treatment of the film. I filled off because it was just a dinner, over a dinner, and people sitting.
So that is also a treatment. Now, it is the discussion over a dinner around a table. That is also a kind of a treatment.
Could have been mentioned, yes.
So because that is quite kind of interesting. The discussion happening around a table amongst people. Okay, two characters. I have not seen this. I don't remember this film. I must have seen it long back. Okay, so that is a very interesting device. That setting is a very interesting device. Okay, and is it only talk, or does it cut to flashbacks or my projections?
No, sir. It is entirely talk.
It's entirely talk. Achha. And does it engage you or does it become boring?
Yes, sir. It
So
surprisingly managed to engage me, this one. Yes, sir.
so if it engages, if it has engaged, you should have written that. Despite being dialogue oriented film held entirely across a table between two characters, the film engages you. Though the film never cuts to flashbacks or kind of any other kind of visualizations, the film engages you entirely throughout its length.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
is an
sir.
important thing. Okay. So ठीक है, चलो तुम जाओ शादी में जाओ. So at least ठीक है, your effort has been honest and good. Okay, and
Thank you, sir.
quite admirable. Okay, so we'll continue with our discussion with the other characters. ठीक है, चलो. अच्छा, अभी कौन है? नमन है और कौन है? और कौन है बाकी?
So mine is remaining actually.
अनन्या and नमन है ना?
Yeah, sir.
अच्छा, चलो एक काम करते हैं, हम
Yes,
10
sir.
मिनट का ब्रेक लेते हैं थोड़ा सा. ओके, हाँ. सो
Okay, sir.
10 मिनट के अभी इट्स ऑलमोस्ट, लेट्स मीट एट 8 अभी 8:30. ठीक है.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
हाँ?
sir. Sir, in the meantime, discussion कर लेते हैं.
नहीं, डिस्कशन हम लोग तभी
अच्छा.
करेंगे ना.
Okay,
लेट्स
sir.
मीट अभी
Okay.
8:17, तो लेट्स मीट एट 8:28.
Yes, sure,
ठीक है
sir.
ना? हाँ,
Yes,
ये
sir.
दो खत्म करके हम लोग थोड़ा सा डिस्कशन कर लेंगे, थोड़ा सा.
Yes,
ठीक है
sir.
ना?
Yes, sir.
देखो, you can also cross 9 PM. ऐसा नहीं है कि 9 बजे है तो बंद करना ही पड़ेगा, ऐसा नहीं है. You can always extend a little, but do that. Let's take a short break of 10 minutes. ठीक है? Come
sir.
around 8:28. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
আরে কোনো ব্যাপার না, এখন ব্রেক আছে 10 মিনিটের। না মানে 10 মিনিটের ব্রেক দিয়েছে, মানে 8 মিনিট এখনো আছে।
ও তারপর তোরটা ইয়ে করবে, নামান খারেজটা করবে আগে।
আমার অ্যাকচুয়ালি এন্ডে এসেছে।
তোকে কি বললো স্যার?
আমার কিছু বলেনি।
স্যার কি কথা বলছে?
না, বললাম কি আমাদের কজন বাকি।
ও কজন বাকি?
আমার নমন আর আমার বাকি।
ও আচ্ছা, ওই ছেলেটা কিরম বললো?
ऑर्डिनरी था आंसर उसका।
স্যার কিছু বললো?
बोलो ऑर्डिनरी ओके
बोलो।
हाँ
सर
सर इनफैक्ट ऐसा नरेश सर जैसा तो नहीं है। तो ऐसा कुछ किसी को
মানে ভগবান জানে কি বলেছে।
যদিও ডিরেকশন এটা থাকতো, যদি ডিরেকশনের টিচার হতো তো হালতই খারাপ করে দিত।
ঠাকুর বলছে না, ঠাকুর ঠিক আছে, অনেকটাই ঠিক
কি
আছে,
বলছে?
পরিষ্কার দেখি তোমরা। আমি তো ভাবছি এখানে ঠান্ডাতে আসছি, পুরা দিন ঠান্ডায়
ওখানে কিছু ঠান্ডা নেই।
তারপরে আবার না বলছি আমাদের কথা বলছিস তো, তুই কাজও করছিস ঠান্ডা মধ্যে কি করে, না না কিছু না। তারপর হচ্ছে যে ফেব্রুয়ারিতেও আসতে পারবে না, আমি অ্যাকচুয়ালি ম্যাঙ্গোটা ভালোই লাগছে না যেতে বলছে, কিন্তু আবার কি বলতো আবার ওরও 2-3 দিনের জন্য ইয়ে করা, মার্চ
অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমি তো নিজেকে বলছি আমার খুব একদম আমার ফেবেই চলে যাওয়ার ইচ্ছে।
আমি দেখি আমি এখন ইয়ে আছে না সেটাই। কারণ 29 তারিখ এটা করে বলে আমি রাত্রিবেলা শুইবো, সকালবেলা আমরা ট্রেনে উঠবো, ইরেসপেক্টিভ অফ জবে। কি বললো? 1 মার্চেই টিকিট কাটবো। ও 29, হ্যাঁ বলে তো আমাদের যতটুকু ঘোরাঘুরি যা হবে ওরেও নেবে, মধ্যিখানে আমাদের ঘোরাটাও হয়ে যাবে। 1 মার্চ আমরা একদম পাক্কা। 1 মার্চ, 2 মার্চ পৌঁছে যাবো। আর এই ডিস্টেন্সটা তো কম, এটা একটা ভালো, দিল্লি থেকে বন্ধ।
रिया के सरप्राइज दे वो टाइम
हाँ,
मेरे के
বলবি না বলবি না।
और बोल बोल यार सुनाई नहीं दे रहा यार अभी भी नहीं
সেদিন না, সেদিন কেন শোনাই দেবে, সেদিনই ও ফোন করবে ছবি
না
বলে এই
বললাম
মার্চে আমি জন্মদিনের আগে চলে আসবো, 18
না
মার্চে
না ওরকম কিছু বলবো না সচ আমি বললাম अभी का আমি বললাম यार কথা এতেই জিজ্ঞেস জিজ্ঞেস করে নেবো
হ্যাঁ
मैं ऑफिस आज कत टाइमे की
হ্যাঁ। নিশ্চয়ই জলটা আসবে না, হোপফুলি এলে আসবে, দরজা খোলার দরকার নেই, হ্যাঁ যদি আসবে।
Okay, we'll start.
Yes, sir.
Naman is there, Ananya is there. Okay, iska hai, let me share the screen. Okay. नमन का
हाँ।
पढ़ लेते हैं फ्रांसवा ट्रूफो 400 blows there is no क्या तुमने देखा नमन ये फिल्म?
सर मैं बता देता हूँ पहले तो मैं इनमें से 3 फिल्म मेकर्स को ही जानता था, ट्रूफो और गोडार्ड और रोमर। तो
अच्छा।
400 ब्लोज मैंने 2021 में एक फिल्म एप्रिसिएशन कोर्स अटेंड किया था।
अच्छा,
तो उसमें करिकुलम में थी, तो फिल्म्स डिवीजन के द्वारा उपलब्ध कराई गई थी थोड़े समय के लिए, तो मैंने
अच्छा।
तभी ट्रेलर और मूवी दोनों देखी थी। उसके बाद फिर मैं देखने का मौका ही नहीं मिला कभी। तो जी सर, तो मैंने मतलब खुद से ही लिखा है थोड़ा बहुत। और
ठीक है,
दूसरा
that's very good, that is what is. चलो
जी
तो
सर।
पढ़ो then, let's see.
जी सर।
Okay.
हाँ यस सर। सो फिल्म नेम द 400 ब्लोज 1959 और French wave breakthrough. So Truffaut is always credited as one
French
of the
New Wave,
names.
it's not
Yes
French
sir,
Wave,
yes
French
sir,
New Wave.
it's French New Wave. Yes sir, French New Wave. Sorry sir. So Truffaut is always credited as one of the names who revolutionized cinema and cinematic techniques, and this is quite evident in his film The 400 Blows. As early as the 50s, it was rare of a film talking about a coming of age story and exploring sir typos थोड़े से ignore करिएगा, मेरे पास edit करने का समय नहीं. Story and exploring mind of a teenager. Along with that, the presentation of the story with such innovative storytelling and cinematic techniques. B, the protagonist of the film, Anthony Doinel, played by John, sir, इनको क्या pronounce करूं मैं?
Jean-Pierre Lodge.
Jean-Pierre Lodge. Yes, sir. Put heart and soul in the character, delivering such a natural performance in such a small age is nothing short of extraordinary. Along with coming of age, the film also explored another important subject, a peculiar relationship between the protagonist and his parents, which I again feel was way ahead of time.
Don't write I, yeah, which was ahead of its time.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Don't write I.
Don't write in first
Yes, sir.
person. है ना?
Right,
Don't
sir.
bring
Yes, sir.
I, हाँ, okay.
Along with groundbreaking storyline, this revolutionary film also featured some powerful visuals with strong emotions. जहाँ पे मतलब his father taking him to the police station या खुद ही वो
Don't
लेके
tell
जा
me
रहे हैं
that
दो
you should
तीन.
have written
Yes, sir.
that. Nah, you should have written that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And the movie talks about the lost youth of the era, as the protagonist is always wrongly understood by his parents as well as the teachers while he's writing something in the exam or whatever, and he feels neglected and ignored, longing for more warmth and understanding from them. A commentary on parenting, on closely observing, the movie is also a great deal about parenting, the treatment of teenagers by their parents at the sensitive age when they need their parents the most. And the reason for me to watch the film, A, the appreciation course, and B was while I was reading about it, because a lot of stalwarts in the industry like Manikda, Satyajit Ray, Martin Scorsese, and Akira Kurosawa have considered it as one of the finest movies ever. And this film by is true for revolutionize, no doubt, revolutionize the techniques and the cinematic world forever. And no wonder it influenced the upcoming, the whole lot of generation of filmmakers. जो भी बाद में filmmakers हैं वो काफी influence किया. मुझे सर और लिखना चाहिए था. I think मैंने थोड़ा
हाँ
कम
देखो,
लिखा.
तुमने तो लिखा है कि तुमने टेक्निक के बारे में लिखा है, लेकिन तुमने टेक्निक के बारे में क्या टेक्निक है वो नहीं लिखा तुमने, है ना?
जी सर.
मतलब इट रिवोल्यूशनाइज तुमने, जैसे अलोंग फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में अलोंग विद दैट द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द स्टोरीज विद सच इनोवेटिव स्टोरी टेलिंग एंड सेवन टेक्निक्स तुमने मेंशन किया, लेकिन तुम एग्जांपल देना चाहिए था ना. व्हाई डू यू फील
Right,
इट
sir.
इज इनोवेटिव, द स्टोरी टेलिंग इज इनोवेटिव? व्हाई डू यू थिंक,
Yes, sir.
व्हाट्स सो स्पेशल अबाउट द टेक्निक, है ना? तुमने अभी
Right, sir.
अभी पॉइंट नंबर 4 में तुमने लिखा कि the film also featured powerful visual strong emotions. तुम मुझे बता रहे
Right,
हो, तुम
sir.
बताओ मत ना, तुम
जी
वहां पे
सर.
तुम्हें लिखना चाहिए था कि when he's being taken by his father.
Sir,
हाँ
sir, since I had no, this film is not available to me, I wanted to watch it again, पर मैं
हाँ
जो
हाँ
पहले से
देखो,
ट्रेलर बार बार देख के
नहीं ठीक है,
करके.
whatever you remember तुमने
Yes, sir.
उससे लिखा है, और ठीक है, this is what is wanted. एटलीस्ट तुमने थीम्स के बारे में लिखा, commentary on parenting,
जी सर.
है ना? And then its influence on other filmmakers who were also masters: Martin Scorsese, Satyajit Ray, Kurosawa. Okay, and movie talks the lost youth of the era. Okay, that is also a theme, and wrongly understood by the parents as well as the teachers, and feels neglected and ignored, longing for more warmth and understanding from them. Very good.
Yes, sir.
ये सब जो है तो तुम्हारा पर्सनल कनेक्शन है, ठीक है. सिर्फ अगेन आई विल टेल यू कि थोड़ा सा लॉन्ग लाइन लिखना जरूरी,
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
सर ब्रेथलेस के सर ब्रेथलेस मैंने पिछले साल ही देखी. एंड अगेन दीज आर जस्ट पॉइंटर्स. आई वाज नॉट एबल टू, मतलब मैंने इसके ऊपर एलेबोरेट नहीं किया. दीज आर जस्ट पॉइंटर्स, मैं वो रीड कर देता हूँ.
अच्छा आप करो. हाँ
Yes, sir. The innovative cinematography, the jump cuts in the film, and I have actually a lot of disappointments with the film and liking with the film. कुछ चीजों
Okay.
में तो दोनों ही चीजें हैं. It's not
ठीक
my
है.
favorite film, but हाँ
हाँ.
ठीक है, अच्छी फिल्म है बहुत. And bold narrative, the film is quite unconventional in its ways, be it the characters, the romance, or just life in general. It broke all the stereotypes. The
देखो
romance is so
whenever you
realistic.
देखो यहाँ पे
Yes, sir.
एक चीज, whenever you're writing these kind of lines ना, it's
Yes, sir.
unconventional.
Right,
Whether
sir.
it's in characterization or the romance which was shown and the life in general, it broke all stereotypes. Then you have to give examples ना. तुमने एक general statement
Yes,
कर
sir.
दिया कि it is unconventional in many ways. How it
Right,
is
sir.
unconventional? You have to show that. You have to write about that. You have to give specific examples.
Right,
Otherwise,
sir.
एग्जामिनर बोलेगा देख वो साला वो फेक रहा है, हाँ उसको
Right,
समझ
sir.
में नहीं है, वो लिख दिया है, स्वीपिंग लाइन लिख दिया. So all
Right,
these
sir.
sweeping lines or general statements that you make have to be illustrated with specific examples,
Right,
scenes,
sir.
visuals. Okay.
Right, sir.
Okay, the protagonist of the film, played by Jean-Paul Belmondo, delivered a very natural
Natural
performance.
performance.
Okay, the
And the
background.
background of the music, jazz, they featured jazz in the film. I remember.
Okay, then
The romance is in the film is very realistic. The presentation of events is very mature and requires certain level of maturity to understand it.
again, these are very vague lines. When you're
Yes,
when
sir.
you're writing, the romance is very realistic. The presentation of events is
Yes,
very
sir.
mature. Requires a certain level of maturity to
Yes,
understand
sir.
it. Okay, so again, you have to illustrate.
Yes, sir. सर मैंने एलेबोरेट नहीं कर, मतलब डेडलाइन इतने पास थी और मैं
ठीक
सोच
है,
सोच
समझ
के
गया मैंने.
नहीं हो पाया.
लेकिन मैं सिर्फ ये एक्सरसाइज के लिए नहीं, मैं कोई भी फ्यूचर
जी सर.
एक्सरसाइज एग्जाम में अगर ऐसी क्वेश्चंस आए तो जनरल
Yes, sir.
स्टेटमेंट, यू कैन मेक अ जनरल स्टेटमेंट, बट देन इट हैज टू बी इमीडिएटली फॉलोड बाय specific examples and illustrations.
Right, sir.
ओके
Right,
चलो हाँ
And again, along with filmmakers, Truffaut, Godard is also considered as one of the filmmakers to be responsible for the French New Wave. That's it.
this is अच्छा you have written
Yes,
only
sir.
about two
Yes, sir. बाकी मैं नहीं सर नहीं देखा तो मैं
ठीक
कैसे
है मतलब and there was no time also you could not have done that I
Yes, sir.
understand but
Sir, about that film I was मैं जो आपको बाइसिकल थीव्स के बारे में मैंने इसलिए पूछा कि उसी फिल्म एप्रिसिएशन कोर्स के दौरान तो जब बाइसिकल थीव्स हमको बोला गया देखने के लिए तो मैंने 2017 में देखी थी 2 बीघा जमीन मेरे मदर ने बोला था तो मैंने बाद में जब ये देखी बाइसिकल थीव्स तो शाम को जब डिस्कशन हुआ तो ऑनलाइन में उसी में था तो मैंने डरते डरते मैम से पूछा कि मैम पता नहीं क्यों ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है कि कोई कनेक्शन है इन दोनों फिल्म के बीच में मुझे लगा कि अब डांट पड़ने वाली है एंड देन शी सेड कि नो यू आर नॉट रॉन्ग एक्चुअली बिमल दा जब फिल्म देख के आए थे बॉम्बे में तो उन्होंने थिएटर से निकलने के बाद अपनी वाइफ को कॉल किया कि मैं एक ऐसी फिल्म बनाने वाला हूँ और ये फिल्म बहुत ही बढ़िया है एंड एक्चुअली इट इज इंस्पायर्ड इन द टेक्निक्स जिस तरीके से वो फिल्म बनाई गई
देखो क्या है आई टेल यू 1952 में इंडिया में फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम an international film festival was held in Delhi ठीक है ना अभी जो गोवा में होता है ठीक है पहले वो दिल्ली में हुआ करता था ओके एंड नॉट ओनली दैट उसके बाद इन द 1980s इन द 1990s इट स्टार्टेड रोटेटिंग दिल्ली एक साल दिल्ली में होगा नेक्स्ट ईयर कलकत्ता में होगा फिर नेक्स्ट ईयर अगेन दिल्ली में होगा नेक्स्ट ईयर बैंगलोर में होगा अगेन दिल्ली में होगा मद्रास में होगा यू नो alternating with Delhi and other cities then it was decided to let Goa be the permanent location of the international सरकारी फेस्टिवल जो मैं
इफी ना सर
हाँ इफी ओके हाँ क्योंकि अभी आज के तारीख में हर शहर में कुछ ना कुछ फेस्टिवल कलकत्ता फिल्म फेस्टिवल एंड कोलकाता फिल्म फेस्टिवल त्रिवेंद्रम फिल्म फेस्टिवल बैंगलोर फिल्म फेस्टिवल चेन्नई फिल्म छोटे छोटे शहरों में भी अभी अपना फिल्म फेस्टिवल्स होता है ठीक है तो लेकिन ऑफिशियल जो फेस्टिवल है दैट इज द इफी जो गोवा में होता है So this IFFI was first held in Delhi way back in 1952. Okay, the first international festival. And ये फेस्टिवल में काफी सारे फॉरेन फिल्म्स ऑफ कोर्स इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल फॉरेन फिल्म्स दिखाए जाए तो यहाँ पे बाइसिकल थीम्स वगैरह ऐसा बहुत सारे फिल्म दिखाया गया इटालियन यूएलिस तो वहाँ पे जो बिमल रॉय वगैरह सत्यजीत तो पहले ही देख चुका था 1948 में ही देख चुका था ठीक है सो उस टाइम में बहुत सारे फिल्म मेकर्स फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम they saw these kind of films and they were heavily influenced. Bimal Roy का जो कहानी तुमने बोला, ठीक है? So naturally the ambience, the mood, the characters, the shot takings, influenced by, but not the story. ऐसा नहीं कि
story तो नहीं है सर.
तो हाँ, story अलग है. ये loses his bicycle, search for the bicycle, and this guy has to earn his livelihood and pay back the money lender. Okay, these are two different stories, but it's dealing with working class. वहाँ पे 2 बीघा जमीन में क्या है he is not a working class character he becomes a working class character he is a farmer है ना he comes from the village there's a theme of migration also बाइसाइकिल थीम जो माइग्रेशन का थीम है वो रोम का ही बंदा है ठीक है ना वो अर्बन बंदा है वो छोटा सा एक फ्लैट में रहता है ठीक है सो द प्लॉट द स्टोरीज आर डिफरेंट बट द ट्रीटमेंट द मूड द एम्बियंस द एटीट्यूड
यस सर
ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर काइंड ऑफ सेम ओके और एक चीज मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि देखो ये भी जानना जरूरी है व्हाट एवर आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट इज बेसिकली फॉर योर बेनिफिट फॉर द एग्जाम कि राज कपूर भी श्री 420 बनाया एंड आवारा बनाया ही वाज आल्सो अर्ली राज कपूर वाज आल्सो इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय ये अपना इटालियन रियलिस्ट फिल्म्स ठीक है लेकिन फर्क ये है इंडियन फिल्म्स व्हिच वर not Satyajit Ray, of course. Satyajit, I'll talk about Satyajit Ray a little later. Indian films which are influenced by Italian realist films and the Italian realist films themselves. Indian films which were influenced by this movement, Italian movement, their treatment was very sentimental. Okay, very emotional, very sentimental. Okay, and they looked at society in a very black and white category. तुम अगर श्री 420 अगर तुम देखोगे या आवारा देखोगे राज कपूर का तुम देखोगे राज कपूर वाज अ वेरी गुड क्राफ्ट्समैन कंट्रोल ओवर द फिल्म मेकिंग क्राफ्ट वाज फैंटास्टिक ओके सो इनका तुम जब फिल्म देखोगे इनका द वे दे आर लुकिंग एट सोसाइटी इज वेरी ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट इन द सेंस की इजी कैटेगराइजेशन मतलब
यस सर,
मतलब जो अमीर
ये
है
बुरा
वो
ये अच्छा है।
हाँ, वो खराब है, जो गरीब है वो अच्छा है।
यस
हाँ,
सर,
गांव के आदमी जो होते हैं वो बड़े दिल वाले होते हैं, जो शहर के लोग जो होते हैं वो बदमाश होते हैं। हाँ, शहर में जो फुटपाथ में रहते हैं वो बड़े दिल वाले होते हैं और
यस
जिसका
सर,
कार्स है
यस सर,
हाँ, वो बहुत फालतू आदमी होते हैं। हाँ, और
यस
जो
सर,
लड़कियां साड़ी पहनती है और भजन गाती है वो बहुत अच्छी होते हैं, जो लड़कियां सिगरेट पीती है, दारू पीती है, वो वैम्प है। So it's a very simplistic way of looking at this. Okay,
राइट सर,
Satyajit Ray was not like that. In fact, if you look at Pather Panchali, you see the film, you'll see
यस सर,
there's a scene जहाँ पे the mother, we always respect the mother character. ना mother character Indian culture में it's like an archetype, all loving, caring
यस
kind
सर,
of. यहाँ पे mother को दिखाए, she is very cruel woman. She can thrash her child, a daughter,
यस सर,
accused of
यस
stealing.
सर,
कोई भी फिल्म में
यस
इससे
सर,
पहले ऐसा नहीं दिखाया कि मदर वेरी बैडली बीटिंग अप द चाइल्ड। ओके, और एक देखो, और there's another wonderful memorable scene, वो मदर कोई गार्ड, बारिश हो रहा है, वो गार्ड किसी के बगीचा के अंदर से गुजर रही है, सडनली शी सीज कुछ नारियल या कुछ ऐसा फ्रूट गिरा हुआ है which
यस सर,
belongs to some other people. She looks this side and that side, immediately picks up, चोरी कर लेती है और साड़ी
यस
के
सर,
अंदर छुपा के वो निकल पड़ती है। देखो, एक मम्मी चोरी कर रही है, ये इंडियन सिनेमा में तुम नहीं कभी इससे पहले दिखाया
नो
नहीं।
सर,
सो
नो सर,
सत्यजीत का मतलब कंट्रीब्यूशन ये है कि ही इज नॉट कैटेगराइजिंग, ही इज नॉट जजमेंटल, ही इज
यस सर,
सिंपैथेटिक। हाँ, ऐसा लोग ऐसा होते हैं तो चोरी भी करते हैं, कभी कभी मौका मिल जाता है। हाँ, तो ऐसा नहीं कि वो बदमाश है। शी इज अ नेगेटिव कैरेक्टर। Okay, so these
यस
are the
सर,
contributions of Satyajit's films are non-sentimental. No, but sympathetic. He's sympathetic towards the characters, but not in a sentimental manner. But Raj Kapoor का फिल्म
यस
तुम
सर,
अगर देखोगे या विमल रॉय का फिल्म अगर देखोगे, वेरी वेरी सेंटिमेंटल। इनफैक्ट कमर्शियल सिनेमा का
यस सर,
एक एटीट्यूड ही है कि सेंटिमेंटलाइजिंग थिंग्स, ओवर ड्रामेटाइजिंग थिंग्स, ओवर द टॉप, ज्यादा इमोशन, वेरी वेरी इमोशनल, देयर इज नो
यस सर।
कंस्ट्रेंट, देयर इज नो रिस्ट्रेंट। तो these are the features of Indian commercial cinema. Very
सर
loud,
सर कहीं ना कहीं ऋषिदा के सिनेमा को भी क्या हम सेंटिमेंटल बोल सकते हैं,
हाँ
या
बोलता,
कि
लेकिन इसका
बैलेंस था कहीं ना कहीं?
ऋषिकेश मुखर्जी does not go overboard. Of course, he also sentimentalizes and he kind of emotionalizes situations, and his casting of certain female characters, Jaya Bahaduri. If you look at Jaya Bahaduri, the way she's dressed and her hairstyle and all, very pretty, middle class, the girl next door. तो वहां पे भी एक सेंटिमेंटलाइजेशन है, लेकिन वो थोड़ा सा ओवर द टॉप नहीं है, उतना ओवर द टॉप नहीं है जो तुम्हें राज कपूर में मिलेगा या बाकी और डायरेक्टर्स में। ठीक है, चलो लेट्स रीड अनन्याज दिस थिंग एंड देन
यस सर,
इफ यू हैव टाइम विल कंटिन्यू टू डिस्कस। अनन्या, तुम्हारा
यस सर,
is it पर
सर आई हैव सेंट इट
अलग से?
एक्चुअली नहीं नहीं सर, मैंने भेजा था लेकिन आई गेस वो थोड़ा लेट हो गया था 15 मिनट्स, बट आई सेंट इट ऑन।
अलग से भेजा तुमने मुझे?
हाँ, अच्छा सर, आपको अलग से नहीं भेजा सर, आई रीड इट आउट 1 सेकेंड।
नहीं, तुम अलग से भेजो ना, सो लेट मी शेयर द स्क्रीन।
अच्छा सर, आपका मेल आईडी क्या है?
आई राइट डाउन
या
FREAKSA freakshower@gmail.com, हाँ, freakshower@gmail.com। तुम अभी
सर यू
भेज
हैव
दो।
रिटन इट चैट पे?
हाँ, चैट पे लिखा मैंने।
ओके 1 सेकेंड, ओके ओके ठीक सर, ओके ओके 1 सेकेंड सर।
सर यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट रेनॉर। सो जब ऑड्रे हेपबर्न माणिकदा को वीडियो के थ्रू जब वो एकेडमी प्रेजेंट करनी थी 92 में व्हेन ही वाज
हाँ
हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड,
हाँ
तो
हाँ
उसमें ही एक्चुअली सेड,
ठीक है
उन्होंने
ना?
सबका
अच्छा
नाम लिया था उसमें, उन्होंने रेनॉर का नाम भी लिया था, और जितने भी
हाँ।
फिल्म मेकर्स थी
इनफैक्ट
उनकी वजह से ही।
रेनोवा जब कलकत्ता में
ठीक
एक
है ना?
फिल्म
बट
शूटिंग करने के लिए आया था 1948
है
या
ना, पक्का
49
ना?
में,
एटा यामा
Yes, sir.
ओके, तो सत्यजीत वाज
ओटा ही
वर्किंग
ना?
विद एड एजेंसी, सो एवरी वीकेंड सैटरडे संडे उसका
Yes,
छुट्टी
sir.
रहता था, ठीक है ना? सो ही यूज्ड टू
Yes,
गो
sir.
टू द यूनिट एंड काइंड ऑफ हैंग अराउंड, एंड ही बिकेम फ्रेंड्स विद
Yes, sir.
Renova, and he learned a lot of stuff from Renova about life, about shooting, about approach to cinema, attention to details. Rekha hai attention to details, which he learned from Renova. ठीक है? A lot of
Yes,
people
sir.
think he assisted Renova. He did not assist Renova,
Oh,
because
yes,
वो
sir.
नौकरी कर रहा था। सैटरडे संडेज वीकेंड्स में वो जाके एंड दे हैड बिकम फ्रेंड्स, मतलब यंग रे वाज यंग 22 इयर्स ओल्ड एंड दिस मैन
Yes,
इज
sir.
सीनियर फिल्म मेकर। तो रे वाज शुरुआत में थोड़ा सा वो डर रहा था कि भैया इतना बड़ा फिल्म मेकर मेरे साथ बात
Consent.
करेगा क्या? हाँ,
जी सर।
so but then he found out, अरे ये तो मस्त आदमी है, they became friends.
जी सर।
अरे कोडला बोलो ना। Freak star, 1 second.
কি হলো না? हाँ,
अच्छा, sorry sir. Sorry sir, I'm trying.
Sir, I think you can give her the access for sharing the
Freak
screen so
star.
she could
हाँ चलो ठीक
share
है,
her
चलो
laptop.
तुम करो access, if you can access you do it ना.
So you will have to give her the access for sharing
अच्छा,
the
I have to
screen.
give her the access. अच्छा, how do I do that?
No, she will click on share screen on her computer and then
हाँ,
आपके सामने prompt आएगा, आप उसको permit कर
अच्छा
देंगे.
ठीक है, चलो करो. अनन्या, do
जी
it.
sir. So I didn't hear actually what did he say.
No,
I've
you
just
can share the screen.
So,
Once you share the screen, I'll have to
sir,
permit
sir,
allow.
I
Ananya,
wish मुझे
just
इतना
click on the
कंप्यूटर आता sir.
no, just click on the share screen button. सामने जो share screen का
Okay,
लिखा
okay,
है ना,
share screen
हाँ
button. Okay, fine.
हाँ, तो सर परमिशन दे देंगे फिर आपको.
Okay, उसके बाद
Then you read out.
हाँ, फिर
और
आपका
हाँ,
स्क्रीन शेयर हो जाएगा, मतलब आपको अपने लैपटॉप पे डॉक्यूमेंट खोलना पड़ेगा. आप शेयर स्क्रीन पे क्लिक करेंगे
अच्छा,
तो आपका
oh
लैपटॉप का
God,
स्क्रीन
अरे I
वहां से.
think वो
जी.
दूसरे इस पे 1 second. Oh, why is it not working मेरे को?
अरे तो मेल कर दो ना मुझे.
सर वही सब मेल का ही इशू हो रहा है. Like I did sending, sir. I don't know. It's sir, is it okay like if I read it out
अरे
like
चलो
or
पढ़ो
you
पढ़ो 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 पढ़ो. हाँ,
like if it's okay otherwise
हाँ,
तो
it's okay. Show us your face at least.
yeah I did mail it but वो बहुत I guess just मैं क्यों दाव मुझे लैपटॉप में तो बोले हो छिला मोटा हाँ तो obviously
Okay, चलो करो.
yeah sir 1 second এখন I can't find it 1 second so 1 second sir. Okay sir, yeah I got it. Yeah, okay, so yeah, so the 400 blows by Francois Truffaut. Huh. So the first point I've done is the shot. So there is a close-up static shot of Antoine when his parents fight in the background off screen. His mother says that maybe they should give away Antoine to an orphanage. It is because of the static close-up shot, empathy and a sense of pathos is invoked in the audience. When Antoine runs away from home and is loitering about the deserted streets, it's a wide shot where Antoine appears really small against his surrounding. This shot depicts alienation, listlessness, and how lost Antoine is in life. First
Okay,
point.
चलो. हाँ, okay.
And the second is characterization. In the first scene of the film, we see Antoine, a 13-year-old boy, writing something on a poster of a sensual girl with deep neck. After some time, he's called by his teacher and punished to go and stand against the wall. This scene makes the viewer understand that Antoine is moving into adolescence. When he's punished, he scribbles on the wall, writing an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. This action of Antoine helps the audience go into the psyche of the character, that Antoine is pissed at his teacher and if given the chance, he can beat him up. In the film, Antoine rarely speaks or discusses how he is feeling. It is only when he is questioned by his psychologist, he mentions that he heard that his mother wanted to abort him, his stealing and that he had gone to a hotel to meet a prostitute, but since she wasn't there last night, he came home. It is through these lines, the petty crimes he commits and in the movie and the constant lies, his dysfunctional relationship with his mother makes sense to the audience, because at the age of 13, it is difficult for a child to have a sense of right and wrong, especially if there is no one to guide them. When Antoine's mother comes home, she yells at his son for not getting flour. This was the second point
Okay.
about characterization. Then the third point is symbolism.
Hmm.
In a medium static shot, we see that Antoine combs his hair when his parents weren't home. This symbolizes his longing for affection and attention he wants from his parents, because when they are around, they always make Antoine work. In the end of the film, when Antoine finally escapes prison and reaches the sea, he touches the waves. This might mean that he has found freedom or a sense of escape from his life. Then, fourth point, specific traits of French New Wave. When Antoine runs towards the sea, it's a medium long tracking take for more than 40 seconds. Long takes, which is one of the hallmarks of French New Wave. This shot makes the audience wonder so as to what is going to happen to Antoine, where is he going, or relate to the character. Long takes is intentionally used here so that the audience thinks about the shot during and after the shot, or or when the scene is over. Unlike commercial films, whose motto is to entertain, in contrast to French New Wave, whose motto is to make the audience think and bring their own life experiences when they watch the film. Then fifth point, there is no conflict in the story. The 400 Blows is a story about a delinquent boy committing petty crimes, telling lies, and living his life. There is no conflict in the story because the filmmaker belongs to the French New Wave movement, and this movement believes in non-linear or unconventional stories, stories which are not plot-driven. Basically, the idea of French New Wave filmmakers was not to adhere to stories and filmmaking techniques of big studios.
No, ये गलत है. ये जो point तुमने लिखा है, was this your last point?
Last point. So five, I could come up with 5 points. So
कोई problem नहीं है. देखो, ये conflict तो है. बिना conflict के कहानी नहीं बनेगा. ठीक है ना? कहानी interesting नहीं बनता है. What is a conflict? You must understand what is a conflict. Conflict is the gap between your desire and the reality. ठीक है? You want to drink a glass of water, okay? But there's no water. So ये जो gap है between the desire and the reality or the outcome, that is a conflict. Right now you are having a conflict. You wanted to share the screen. That is your desire. Okay? And reality क्या is not being able to share this. So that is a conflict. Okay. Or before that you were trying to email me the document. That was your desire. Reality क्या है? There's some technical problem. You're not being able to. So there has to be conflict. Of course, there's a conflict. The young fellow is trying to lead a certain kind of lifestyle, and he's being constantly, there's opposition. He's being caught returning.
I wrote it in a hurry. Yeah, sir. This is wrong. This point.
So बिना कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के कहानी नहीं बनेगा, कहानी आगे नहीं बढ़ेगा. ये दिमाग में रखो. ठीक है? नंबर 1. नंबर 2, तुम बार बार बोल रहे हो एपिसोडिक स्ट्रक्चर इज एपिसोडिक. अभी क्या है, अभी when you say unconventional, क्या क्या लिखा? Just read the last paragraph.
Last point. It is I've written that basically believes in non-linear or unconventional stories.
नहीं, ये linear story चाहिए. What is non-linear? देखो linear क्या है? Linear is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moving in a unilateral direction. What is non-linear? Non-linear starts from A, jumps to 5, comes to 3, jumps to 7. Going back and forth in time. Structurally speaking. So, so यहाँ पे तो it's not going back and forth in time, ना?
No, sir, I've written like a generic thing for French New Wave, not this specific.
Generic, ये information तुम्हें कहाँ से मिल रहा है? बहुत students ने किया यहाँ पे कि non-linear. अगर non-linear कोई कहानी में जरूरत हो तो non-linear. देखो, most of the films that you see, the French New Wave, they're not non-linear. They are linear.
Okay.
I don't know why. So get rid of this thing कि unconventional. There's storytelling is unconventional, of course.
Okay, unconventional, not non-linear.
It is non-linear. Try to understand what is the meaning of non-linear.
Okay, sir. Yeah, understood.
And the flashback is also a non-linear device. When you're what is flashback? You're cutting back to the past. Flashback is somebody's point of view. पता है मैं जब दिल्ली गया था last week, मेरे साथ क्या हुआ? Cut to flashback in Delhi.
Flashback.
Then you're coming back. And this is a very सिंपल नॉन लीनियर. अगर एक फिल्म में अगर 2-3 फ्लैशबैक्स है तो हम लोग ये नहीं बोलते हैं कि इसका स्ट्रक्चर नॉन लीनियर है. ठीक है ना? वो भी लीनियर है. So just because the film has a flashback does not mean it has a non-linear structure.
Understood, sir.
Okay. So and as I was telling Naman before, कि whenever you are writing a general statement, it has unconventional storytelling. So you have to illustrate how is it unconventional.
Right, sir.
So you just cannot write it is unconventional.
Yes,
okay, chalo next.
Sir,
actually I missed the difference between linear and non-linear. Can you please repeat it?
अच्छा, linear देखो, linear is when the story is moving in a single direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like that, isn't it? And non-linear क्या है? 1, then it jumps to 5, then it jumps to 3, then it jumps to 7, then it comes back to 4 maybe, then it jumps to 10. Going
And
back and forth, back and
sir,
forth in
what
time.
about the flashbacks you just mentioned?
Flashback is also a non-linear device because you are going back in time. Okay, then again you are coming back to the
Yeah,
present.
yeah.
ठीक है?
So
And
that will be non-linear, right?
that is non-linear, but लेकिन हम लोग अगर कोई फिल्म में फ्लैशबैक अगर है तो हम लोग वो फिल्म को ये नहीं बोलते कि ये नॉन-लिनियर स्ट्रक्चर है. फ्लैशबैक इज एक्सेप्टेड. ठीक है? तो
अच्छा
पूरा फिल्म अगर गोइंग बैक एंड फोर्थ इन टाइम, ओके, तुम
अच्छा
श्याम
अच्छा
बेनेगल का भूमिका देख लो. प्लीज वॉच भूमिका. ओके,
Yes, sir.
देयर आर टू टाइमलाइंस. एक है प्रेजेंट.
Yes, sir.
Present is the 1940s Bombay film industry, or it cuts back to 1930s when the heroine was
Yes, sir.
young.
हंसा
गांव का
वाटकर.
लड़की, बच्ची है लड़की, कितना dysfunctional family में. So
हाँ.
they're constantly cutting back and forth between two time zones. So we call it a nonlinear structure.
Sir, one question on this.
So, अच्छा
Sir,
Naman, like, is it okay? Like, मेरे answers थोड़े बाकी
Answers
है.
खत्म
So,
कर लेते हैं, चलो.
yeah,
sure, sure,
कर
sure.
लेना, हाँ.
yeah.
चलो, हाँ.
So, Alan Rene, Hiroshima Mon Amour, 1959, first
That's a
point.
non-linear. That's a non-linear structure.
Yeah, अच्छा.
Okay. हाँ.
Hiroshima Mon Amour, 1959, first use of symbolism. In the opening scene of the film, we see two lovers entangled. It's a medium shot with sand on their bodies. This symbolizes or connects the bombing that happened at Hiroshima. The mirror close shot of the French woman when she says to herself, looking at the mirror, that she cheated on her former lover by sharing their love story with her Japanese lover, and she is starting to forget him. It means that the one in the mirror is her past young self, and the one is in reality is her current self, and in between is the complexity she is stuck in. One of the hallmarks of French New Wave is to present complex ideas. Through this short, it informs or probes the audience to think, how is it possible to love someone else when you are still in love with someone who doesn't exist anymore? That's a question first. Then second point, dialogues. The French actress says that her Japanese lover is destroying her and he is good for her, and that he fits her like a glove into her body. And when she says these lines, we, the audience, are shown shots of the city. It's more like a point of view shot of someone traveling in a vehicle and showing the audience around the city. The French New Wave incorporates long takes, which makes the audience think during and after a shot or scene. This film movement doesn't allow one to rely on the dialogue or the narrative so that the audience can interpret it on its own. The same thing happens here. We wonder what exactly the woman is trying to say, and why are we presented with the city shots instead of showing a shot of the French woman saying these words directly to her Japanese lover. Second point. And third point, shots. There is a point of view close up shot of the Japanese man's hands twitching. Then there is a sudden jump match cut to a dead soldier's hand twitching, and then the camera pans to the French woman lying on a dead soldier, kissing him desperately. This shot informs us that this French woman surely has a past which she is not revealing to her Japanese lover. Further into the film, there is a static medium shot of the French actress describing her former lover's death. She says that he laid cold beneath her and took a long time to die, and she couldn't find a difference between his dead body and hers. This shot makes the viewers probe or ruminate on the woman's traumatic experience as well as their own life experience, since the shot is static. Wide shot of an old building with the woman's voiceover that one day without his eyes, the young girl at Neves dies. This shot shows death in an abstract way because the old dilapidated building is just as lifeless as the girl from Neves with her past love, without her past lover's eyes. Then fourth point, philosophy on screen. Philosophy includes life, death, and life lessons. Philosophy is always abstract. Then close two shot of the two lovers, the French woman says that she doesn't remember her former lover's hand very well as she touches her current lover's hand, but she remembers the pain a little. Through this short and dialogue, the philosophy that humans can only forget or distance themselves from a traumatic experience or lost love is when time passes, but the memory can be triggered if a similar situation presents itself in life. In the case of the French woman, she falls for a man truly after the death of her first love 14 years ago. Then fifth point is editing. In the first scene, the filmmaker cuts between the repercussions of the war and the Japanese lover and French woman in bed hugging each other and talking about Hiroshima. Intercutting is used here. When the French actress talks about morning glories and day lilies, we are shown different war affected children. The contradiction of what the woman thinks about Hiroshima versus what it is in reality is achieved by editing her dialogue and merging it with the shots of the bruised children. Then sixth point, identity of the protagonists. In the end of the film, the French actress asks her Japanese lover as to who he is. He says that he is Hiroshima and says that she is Nevers from France. This means that the Japanese guy represents Hiroshima and the French woman represents Nevers from France. This can be proved when the woman says in the beginning of the film that she has seen newsreels with shots of people walking and dogs laying on the ground, and the Japanese man says that she has seen nothing. This means that the place Hiroshima is talking that people not belonging from Hiroshima don't know about the horrors of war. It is through the love story we pay attention to the world wars and the places and people affected by it. So this I've written.
Okay, very good. This is your personal, matlab, kind of, when did you see this film?
Sir, I've seen Hiroshima Mon Amour like in August and I watched it again. So
Okay, that's good. So whatever you written is very natural. It's not copied from Chat GPT or pata chalta hai.
Yeah,
This is
sir.
what is desired. And orange is because I cannot see see the document. Different 8 points, 8 points or your 5
Yeah,
points.
sir.
Try to make them equal in length.
Yeah,
ऐसा नहीं कि
sir.
एक बहुत लंबा लिख दिया,
एक
एक
बार
दो
एक
लाइन
छोटा, yeah, sir.
अगर मतलब अगर तुम्हारे दिमाग में कुछ नहीं आ रहा तो 2 लाइन ही लिख के छोड़ दोगे, लेकिन
Yeah, sir.
really try to maintain that continuity of length. ठीक है ना?
Okay, sir.
और सही है, in fact it's quite impressive. And yeah, any other films you have written about?
Yeah, sir. This is the last one, Claire's Me by Eric Romer,
Okay, very famous
1970.
film.
First point, conversation over narrative. In this film, it is through conversation the narrative is pushed forward. The story is about a middle-aged man who bumps into his old friend or ex-girlfriend who insists him to flirt with a landlady's daughter because she thinks she might be smitten with him. It is because of the fact that the characters Jerome, Aurora, Laura keep talking about how they feel, think, and have opinions about life, and this drives the narrative forward. In a static medium too short, when Aurora tells Jerome that boys her age don't interest her and she would love to have a man in her life who is like a father figure in her life because she lacks one. Her father her father died when she was little. She also tells Jerome that she is crazy but is in hold of herself because of her mother, whereas her stepsister Claire has a father so she can go berserk. She might point out to the fact that fathers have a tendency to spoil their daughters and she lacked fatherly affection, which makes her interested in people who are older than her. It was because of the static shot as well as the dialogue of the audience, as well as the dialogue, comma, the audience can understand small narrative stories of the characters as well as the film as a whole. The long conversations make them relate to their own life experiences, which is also one of the hallmarks of French New Wave cinema. Then second is characterization. When Jerome brings Laura to his room, they talk about their views on love and life. There is a static medium shot of Jerome talking about that love is friendship and there is no other way, to which Laura says in a medium static shot of Laura that she can't believe she believes that one day, no, she can't believe that one day, oh god, grammatical error, one day is love and after 6 years Laura believes that one day it is love, and after 6 years of friendship there is no such thing as love. For her, love is something which affects her life as well, something which doesn't let you think straight. Laura is a character who is young and believes that love is passion, which is true up to some extent, but she can't imagine love existing without passion, which makes the audience understand that she is young and hasn't lived life yet. On the other hand, Jerome, who is a middle-aged man, has lived life, so he knows and expresses that passion over time wears off, and what remains is love and friendship. In the opening scene of the film, there is a static medium shot of Jerome telling Aurora that he wants to get married because he can stay with his fiancée. That means they can tolerate each other's personalities because loving someone is just not enough, which young Laura is unable to understand. So this is the second point. And the third point, specific French New Wave traits. When Jerome touches Claire's knee to console her, as well as satisfy his weird obsession with Claire's knees, the camera dollies in, handheld without any steadicam, to capture the character's real emotion. In the end of the film, we see that Aurora looks at the camera directly for 1 second, which makes us or the audience realize that we are watching a film. Fourth point, long takes. This film incorporates long takes and minimal cuts so that it lets the audience understand the characters, make them feel as if they are seeing real people in front of them conversing and giving their opinions on life, love, and death. In a static medium 2 shot, when Jerome tells Aurora that maybe she should start looking for a man, to which she says she enjoys her solitude and their conversation goes on, there is no cut in between. If there was a cut, it would have surely disrupted the audience in this case. Fifth point, different stages of life through conversation, not behavior. Film is behavior, and in films, it is through characters' behavior and actions the audience comes to know the character rather than using only dialogues to let the audience know how they think and feel. In the end of the film, when Jerome sits by the bedside, static medium shot of Jerome, he tells Aurora that he was really obsessed with Claire's knee, but after he caressed it, it was clear to him that he was no longer interested in chasing girls and is happy that he will be with his fiancée. He says whatever he feels, the filmmaker doesn't choose to show his emotions and opinions through visuals, but rather use spoken words which will give immediacy to his film. So these are the 5 points I've written.
ठीक है, तुम क्या चैट जीपीटी के सहारा लिया या फिर
नहीं सर, कुछ भी नहीं लिया सर,
कुछ भी नहीं लिया? वेरी गुड, दैट्स वेरी गुड. हाँ, तुम्हारा जो अप्रिसिएशन है, the points that you have written and the way you have analyzed the visuals in terms of the magnifications and the cuts and everything, that's very admirable. In fact, this is what is desired. Okay, so I've got nothing much to say. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That is the only thing I can say. ठीक है, और कोई बचा है क्या? प्रागी, पुनीत, वास्तव?
No, sir, I didn't attempt questions today.
तो अगर कोई सवाल है तो पूछो.
Yes, sir. Sir, an important question.
बोलो. हाँ.
So you were talking about linear and not linear. So जो एंथोलॉजी है सर, भले ही एक एंथोलॉजी सीक्वेंस में जा रही हो, चाहे वो कोई भी एंथोलॉजी वाली फिल्म, पल्प फिक्शन है या कोई भी है, अगर भले वो सीक्वेंस में भी जा रही हो तो उसको लीनियर मानेंगे कि नॉन लीनियर?
पल्प फिक्शन इज नॉट एंथोलॉजी. ठीक है, पल्प फिक्शन इज नॉट एंथोलॉजी, इट्स अ नॉन लीनियर स्ट्रक्चर्ड फिल्म. ठीक है, एंथोलॉजी इज अ सीरीज ऑफ फिल्म्स. इट कुड बी 3 films, it could be 5 films which are independent of each other. ठीक है, एक कहानी खत्म हुआ, दूसरा कहानी शुरू हुआ, which has got nothing to do with the previous story, previous film. Then third कहानी शुरू हुआ. ठीक है ना? So these are called हमारा anthology films. And Pulp Fiction it has several stories. ठीक है ना? And they mix to kind of the structure. Look at the structure. It's a non-linear structure. Okay. You know, the film ends at a point which is actually, तुम अगर story के हिसाब से देखोगे, it is in the middle of the film. John Travolta dies in the middle of the film. But end में क्या दिखा रहा है? John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, they're walking out of the restaurant.
सर
structure is non-linear. हाँ बोलो.
सर एक और क्वेश्चन है इसी में भी. सर शायद आपने देखी होगी, मुझे आप ऋषिकेश मुखर्जी की जो पहली फिल्म थी मुसाफिर 1957, तो उसमें भी सर एक बहुत ही सिंपल सी कहानी है. एक घर है, उसमें 3 अलग अलग स्टोरीज होती हैं, अलग अलग समय पे उन लोगों ने उस घर को रेंट किया है. तो अब ये तीनों स्टोरीज और तीनों फैमिलीज एक दूसरे से बिल्कुल रिलेटेड नहीं है. तीनों के बीच में एक ही कॉमन लिंक है, वो घर है. बस उस घर में उन्होंने अलग अलग समय पे रेंट किया है. तो इसको एंथोलॉजी बोलेंगे या कि नहीं?
देखो, इसको एंथोलॉजी मतलब बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक कॉमन एलिमेंट घर आ गया ना. मतलब आई हैव नॉट सीन द फिल्म, बट आई नो इट हैज 3 different stories.
It's a debut, sir.
So एक कहानी खत्म होता है तो दूसरा कहानी एकदम एकदम
ये सर
शुरू होता है। हाँ
ये सर एक पहले जो स्टोरी है, एक घर
हाँ
दिखाया गया है, डेविड उसके लैंडलॉर्ड है, उसमें एक
Sir,
कपल आता है,
it
सुचित्रा सेन
sounds
और एक
similar
एक्टर है।
to the film Ludo also. Like,
अच्छा, लूडो अगेन आई हैव नॉट सीन, आई हैव टू सी लूडो। ओके या
सर एक चीज कहनी थी सर, ये जो है एक मूवी आई थी सर लाइफ इन अ मेट्रो नाम से। सर लाइफ इन अ मेट्रो में दिखाते हैं मुंबई शहर में
या इट
कई
इज
सारे लोग होते हैं, पर वो सारे इंटरकनेक्टेड होते हैं, मतलब कि कोई कैरेक्टर किसी एक कोई एक कैरेक्टर किसी कहानी में है, पर वो किसी दूसरे कैरेक्टर से भी लिंक्ड होगा, तो वो नहीं
सर
होगा
दैट
इसमें
इज
सच
नॉट
में।
मुसाफिर में,
एंथोलॉजी फिल्म,
सर
दैट इज नॉट
मुसाफिर में
एंथोलॉजी।
कहीं कोई लिंक नहीं है। एक घर है, पहले एक फैमिली आती है, कपल आता है, वो लोग चले
हाँ
जाते हैं, फिर एक दूसरी फैमिली आती है, वो
हाँ
चले जाते हैं, फिर एक तीसरी फैमिली आती है। बस उसमें
हाँ
एक एक घर कॉमन है, और
हाँ
एक दिलीप दिलीप कुमार का कैरेक्टर है पगला बाबू करके, दैट
हाँ
उसका नाम लिया गया है बस तीनों स्टोरी में एक
हाँ।
एक बार।
देखो
वो
ये
लास्ट।
एंथोलॉजी फिल्म नहीं है, इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं
ओके
एपिसोडिक फिल्म।
एपिसोडिक।
ओके
थ्री
सर,
अच्छा
एपिसोड,
ओके
सर,
फर्स्ट
सर
एपिसोड खत्म होता है,
एक
सेकंड एपिसोड
यस सर,
सेम मकान, थर्ड
यस सर,
एपिसोड मकान मालिक सेम है
यस सर,
तीनों में। सो इट्स
यस सर।
एपिसोडिक। ठीक है।
सर
अच्छा
इट्स अ
सर एक
इट्स अ
और
इट्स
बात पूछनी थी सर, मतलब वो
हाँ
नॉन लीनियर नैरेटिव के बारे में।
हाँ
सर अभी कुछ दिनों पहले मैंने एक तमिल मूवी के बारे में सुना था जिसका नाम था 12B ऐसे
अच्छा
करके।
हाँ
वो एक कहानी थी, मतलब पर्सपेक्टिव्स के ऊपर, कि एक कैरेक्टर की जिंदगी में कुछ होता है और फिर मतलब कुछ मिस हो जाता है, बस बस छूट जाती है, तो कहते हैं कि क्या होता इसकी जिंदगी में ये हुआ है, लेकिन क्या होता अगर इसका ऑपोजिट होता। तो दो पर्सपेक्टिव्स की कहानी है, तो
हाँ।
वो
इट इज
नॉन
नॉट
लीनियर नैरेटिव
देखो
हो
देखो
सकता
ये,
है।
हाँ दिस इज अ डिवाइस, ये एक फिल्म है, पोलिश फिल्म, नो एंड। ठीक है।
हम्म
नो एंड है या सम अदर नेम, वेरी द नेम ऑफ द फिल्म बाय अ वेरी फेमस पोलिश डायरेक्टर क्रिस्टोफ किस्लॉस्की। ठीक है, मोस्ट ओनली नो एंड। ओके। वहां पे एक बंदा दौड़ रहा है प्लेटफॉर्म में, ही मिसेस द ट्रेन। इफ ही मिसेस द ट्रेन, व्हाट हैपेंस टू हिम, स्टोरी आता है। देन अगेन वो बंदा, सेम बंदा दौड़ रहा है, दिस टाइम ही डज नॉट मिस द ट्रेन, somehow he gets into the train. now now that he gets into the train, something else happens to his life. ठीक है।
ब्लैक मिरर।
तो सो देर आर थ्री। तुम देखो रन लोला रन, देखो रन लोला रन इज अ वेरी फेमस फिल्म, अवेलेबल ऑन टॉरेंट, डाउनलोड कर लो। ठीक है, रन लोला रन, आई राइट डाउन द नेम। ओके। सो
ओ दैट्स जर्मन मूवी ना, जर्मन
हाँ,
जर्मन मूवी।
मस्त फिल्म है। व्हाट हैपेंस, इट्स काइंड ऑफ, so you can call it episodic in the sense ki same characters, all the characters are the same, the situations are different. Okay, so if the characters are the same but the situations are different, we do not call it an anthology film. Okay. we I don't have a this thing, and it is also not non-linear also. Okay, because these are three different stories, okay, independent of each other, but the characters are the same. You might call it episodic, क्योंकि जैसे कि मुसाफिर का जो कहानी बोल रहा था नमन, हाँ, कि घर तो एक ही है, लैंडलॉर्ड भी एक ही है, लेकिन about three different families, so it's episodic. ठीक है, so run Lola
ओके
run,
सर।
you can, run Lola run
सर
also you
तो
can call
इसमें
it,
मुसाफिर में क्या हम घर को भी एक करेक्टर की तरह ही देखेंगे कि वो कॉमन
नहीं,
लिंक है?
घर
तो
को देखो, हम लोग बोलते हैं द घर इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक अ कैरेक्टर, हम लोग बोलते हैं द
यस सर,
शहर, द सिटी इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक अ कैरेक्टर, बट दैट इज,
यस सर,
I mean I have to see the film whether it's a metaphor for a character or not. ठीक है। घर,
नो
एवरी
सर,
घर हैज अ पर्सनालिटी, इजंट इट, और पर्सनालिटी चेंज
यस
होता
सर,
है, टेनेंट बदलेगा वो घर का कैरेक्टर चेंज हो
इसका
जाएगा,
क्या
है ना। So
यस सर।
that way, घर also can say it's a character, but the
यस सर।
structure definitely is episodic structure.
सर आप इसको जरूर देखिएगा सर, ऋत्विक
मैं
घटक
देख
ने
लूंगा, मैं
कहानी
देख
लिखी
लूंगा।
थी,
हाँ
बहुत बढ़िया फिल्म है
हाँ
सर,
हाँ।
उनके डेब्यू है ऋषिता को।
आई नो आई नो आई नो। ठीक है, तो देखो नेक्स्ट वीक तो राम फिर से लेगा क्लासेस। ठीक है, आई डोंट नो, मे बी द वीक आफ्टर
ओके
दैट
सर,
आई विल टेक अगेन। सो लेकिन क्या है, तुम लोगों को मैं काफी सारे किताबों का नेम्स आई हैव गिवन यू। ओके, एंड if you're not there in the class, please get to know the names of the books from your friends.
यस सर, आई हैव नॉट गॉट एनी नेम्स।
No, no, ask
Naman,
your
you'll
friends.
have to share your number here so that we can add you in the
ओके,
aspirants
या
group. We have
प्लीज
created a
प्लीज,
group.
आई एम शेयरिंग माय नंबर।
पर्टिकुलर बुक्स, हाउ टू रीड अ फिल्म, वहाँ पे हाउ
Yeah,
टू रीड
we'll
अ फिल्म
share
बाय
it
जेम्स
there.
मोनाको, वहाँ पे फिल्म हिस्ट्री के ऊपर एक अलग
या
चैप्टर
थैंक
है।
यू सो मच, आई एम शेयरिंग
ठीक
द
है ना।
नंबर।
ओके सर, ओके सर, वो बुक हम पढ़ेंगे। एंड
Thank you.
सर वो
या थैंक यू।
नेक्स्ट वीक, मतलब जो होगा फेब का फर्स्ट वीक जो होगा, उसमें आई एम गोइंग टू एफटीआई, मतलब
जो गोइंग टू
दैट,
एफटीआई है,
या एजुकेशनल टूर, दैट वन।
आ जा तो कॉलेज की तरफ से ले जाएंगे क्या?
हाँ,
अच्छा ठीक है, घूम के तुम कहाँ पे रहते हो?
मैं गाजियाबाद में।
अच्छा, गाजियाबाद से पुणे जाओगे, अच्छा वेरी
हम्म,
गुड। व्हाट आर यू स्टडिंग?
मास कॉम।
मास कॉम, ओके गुड।
बेसिक्स ऑफ फिल्म मेकिंग सीख रखा है,
हाँ
मतलब थोड़ा ना वो सब।
ठीक है, चलो ऑल द बेस्ट है।
सर
रिजर्व
सर
योर
सर एक
क्वेश्चंस फॉर
छोटी
द
सी
नेक्स्ट।
सर और
आप बोलो,
सर
जल्दी
आपने
बोलो।
कल सर आप कल बोल रहे थे ना कि वो टीवी वाला जो कोर्स है उसके बारे में हम बात कर रहे थे सर,
हाँ
तो हु शुड अप्लाई फॉर दैट, मतलब इज इट गोइंग टू लाइक अ ट्रेनिंग फॉर सोप ओपेरास और व्हाट इज इट रियली, जो
नॉट
पीजी
नेसेसरी,
1 ईयर?
टेक्नोलॉजी, इट्स अ टेक्नोलॉजी बेसिक,
इट्स नॉट लाइक,
टेलीविजन
इट्स नॉट अबाउट
टेक्नोलॉजी।
सोप ओपेरास?
नो नो, नॉट नेसेसरी कि तुम्हें सोप ओपेरा कैसे बनाया जाता है सिखाया जाएगा, ऐसा
जी
नहीं है।
सर।
इट्स
अच्छा, यस सर।
मेनली द टेक्नोलॉजी विच इज वीडियो टेक्नोलॉजी और डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी। अभी सब कुछ डिजिटल हो गया।
ओके सर।
और 3
यस
ईयर
सर।
कोर्स जो है दैट इज मच मोर इंटेंस एंड रिगरस, क्योंकि 3 साल तुम जो
ओके,
सीख रहे हो और 1 साल फर्क
तो
होता है ना। हाँ, 1 साल
पर
में
रहेगा
तुम कैमरा
सिमिलर ही
सीख
सर?
रहे हो। हाँ,
रहेगा सिमिलर ही कोर्स, मतलब ऐसे ड्रास्टिकली डिफरेंट नहीं है कुछ उसमें 1 साल
ड्रास्टिकली
और
डिफरेंस है। इन 3 ईयर कोर्स यू हैव मोर एक्सरसाइजेस। यू
नहीं, कहने का मतलब सर कि ये कोई सोप ओपेरास का पैटर्न या उसके
नहीं
बारे
नहीं
में
नहीं
तो?
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है
ओके
कि
सर।
यू विल बी टॉट हाउ टू डायरेक्ट अ सोप ओपेरा, ऐसा नहीं
यस सर, यस,
है।
ओके सर। थैंक
ठीक
यू
है,
सर।
अच्छा
द
सर, ये पूछना
कॉन्सेंट्रेशन
है
इज
कि
ओनली ऑन
फिल्म विंग
टेक्निक
के
ना।
कब तक आएंगे फॉर्म्स?
हाँ, दैट आई डोंट नो, बस दैट आई डोंट नो।
फिल्म विंग के नहीं पता फॉर्म्स कब तक आ सकते हैं।
वो आएंगे, वो नरेश जी तुम्हें बता देंगे, ठीक है ना।
हम्म।
आ जाएगा सब सब। ऑल ऑफ यू आर काइंड ऑफ somebody comes across an ad, inform the others also.
So, how much
हम्म।
prior do we get to know the date of the exam? Is there a
नहीं
1 month
नहीं
gap?
नहीं, हाँ, 2-3 हफ्ता तो डेफिनेटली, 3 हफ्ता तो डेफिनेटली देगा।
सर लास्ट ईयर दिसंबर में आ गए थे फॉर्म्स, अभी बहुत देर हुई है।
सर साइट्स पे भी लिखे हैं कि मतलब जनवरी में टेंटेटिव डेट्स निकल जाती है और फिर फेब मार्च में पेपर हो जाते हैं।
हाँ तो ठीक है, 2-3 महीना का गैप मिलता है ना। तो
सर
लेकिन
इन द
पढ़ाई
लास्ट
करो,
ईयर,
व्यूज देखो, जानकारी करो, क्योंकि मैं जो देख रहा हूँ अभी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चंस आर बीइंग आस्क्ड। यू आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू नो अबाउट फ्रेंच फिल्म मेकर्स एंड फिल्म्स,
सर लास्ट
है ना।
ईयर इट वाज लॉट अबाउट द इंडियन फिल्म मेकर्स एंड उसमें आपके फेवरेट फिल्म मेकर्स या आई अपीयर्ड इन द लास्ट ईयर इन द
अच्छा,
एग्जाम।
ओके, हाँ
यस, और डायरेक्शन एंड एक्टिंग एंड जो भी है सर, तो
हाँ
उसमें वो इट वाज लॉट अबाउट द इंडियन फिल्म मेकर्स लास्ट ईयर, और ऐसे ऐसे
हाँ।
इंडियन
सो
फिल्म
हाँ, तो यू
मेकर्स की
नेवर नो ना
मणिकौल
वेदर
और।
इट वुड बी
यस सर।
ऑन इंडियन फिल्म मेकर्स और वेदर इट वुड बी इटालियन, इरानियन सिनेमा,
यस
वेदर
सर।
यू नो। हाँ,
यस
इरानियन
सर।
सिनेमा के बारे में जानकारी करो, इरानियन फिल्म्स देखो, अब्बास कियारोस्तामी देखो, माजिद मजादी देखो, सब मूवी में चल रहे हैं, पूरा
अच्छा,
यस
आई
सर।
हैव
इंफॉर्मेशन
अ
तुम्हें मिल
क्वेश्चन फॉर
जाएंगे।
यू नमन।
हाँ,
एक्चुअली एक क्वेश्चन था, तुमने आई गेस लास्ट ईयर अपियर किया था राइट एग्जाम के लिए? हाउ
राइट
डिड यू
राइट।
प्रिपेयर फॉर द एमसीक्यू?
सो एक्चुअली
चलो I'll log off now. You guys
यस,
continue
या
conversation.
या,
Yeah,
थैंक यू
sir,
सर।
ठीक है,
sir.
हाँ।
थैंक
Yeah,
यू
sir.
सो
So
मच।
Thank you,
we'll
sir.
meet after not next week, the week
यस
after
सर।
that. ठीक है,
Yeah,
यस सर।
yeah, sir.
चलो
Thank
then.
you, sir.
Shall I leave then and I'll end the meeting for all,
Hmm.
or shall I leave the meeting?
सर
Okay.
आई थिंक हम डिस्कस कर लेते हैं, आप मतलब जैसा आप चाहें आप लोग।
I'll leave the meeting, then you continue. Okay. So
Yeah,
ओके
I'll
सर।
sir.
also एक
Thank you, sir.
हाँ हाँ,
थैंक यू सो मच
ये
सर।
एक सेकंड
Yeah,
ठहरो।
sir.
ये I'll stop recording also in that case. So
Hmm.
AI recording कहाँ पे है?
हाँ, गोरा कर दे।
Recording कहाँ पे है?
सर बीच में रिकॉर्ड का बटन है।
Stop recording, हाँ। स्टॉप रिकॉर्डिंग मैंने किया। आई शो टू स्टॉप रिकॉर्डिंग द क्लाउड।